This young man dressed like a swordsman is our main character, Jack. After going in and out of jail so many times for a hidden quest, he finally managed to get himself a follower. It was worth 300 million during the server merge event. However, his biggest regret is that this follower can't be sold. And all of this began in a game called Legend World, an immersive online RPG set in a fantasy world built with cutting-edge virtual reality technology that has surpassed 50 million players worldwide. In the year 2210, the virtual reality online game Legend World officially launched. Although the monthly subscription fee was over 3 million won in return players, they were given support to rent the expensive VR equipment, so the game quickly became a global sensation. The game's popularity led to the birth of a new profession. They are people who make a living by grinding, selling items, and completing quests in the game, and our main character Jack is one of them. Character Jack. Level 131. Class Master Circle. Race Human. Title Berserker. Guild None. Royal Contribution 4,200. Fame 1,020. Health 13,350. Energy 650. Strength 371 plus 130. Agility 161 plus 50. Stamina 251 plus 20. Intelligence 26. Spirit 1. At that moment, Jack glued his eyes to a piece of paper in front of him, then dropped to his knees, laughing like he was having a seizure. Ha ha, I finally found the quest item. Heh, I had to eat instant noodles for 2 whole months to find this. As he said that, he started using the paper to wipe his face. After laughing his heart out, he remembered he had to turn in the quest and claim his reward immediately. Good. After I get the reward, I need to buy rice. No, I have to pay the rent first. I wonder how much this item will sell for? Jack thought about all the things he would do as he walked, after selling the pile of items he'd get from this quest. However, reality was far different from what he had imagined. After he turned in the quest to this merchant-like NPC, the reward was practically nothing compared to the effort he'd put in. You have received 100 fame. You have received 5 intelligence points. Your level has increased. You have received the title Hunter of the Demonic Weapons. Your level has increased by 34 or something. A linked quest has been activated. Find Pangs. Reading this, the poor guy's face twisted as he screamed, "What, this is the only reward?" And as if taking pity on his situation, the NPC in front of him tossed him a pair of boots. However, they were basically junk. They were only used at level 50, the kind of level for complete noobs in the game, so of course they weren't worth much. What, you don't want them? The merchant spoke as if he wanted them back, making Jack quickly grab them and check the info. Hey, wait a minute. After saying that, he glued his eyes to the screen to examine them. Manji's wings. Leather shoes made from the hide of a white demon ruler of the sky. Classification shoes. Rarity rare. Durability 500. Defense 25. Effect jump power plus 3 times. Movement speed plus 5%. Equipment restriction level 50 or higher. Seeing this, Jack's lifeless face grew even paler. If I post this on the item exchange, I'll only get 1 million won. 2 whole months of work for only 1 million won. Additional info. The item exchange is a trading website where you can exchange items for real money. Back to Jack. A hint of killing intent was now rising on his face. He glared at the insolent NPC in front of him. His situation was one where desperation was about to breed crime. After subtracting rent and account maintenance fees, this 1 million won would only leave him with 200,000. Hey buddy, what are you doing? The merchant asked distractedly, noticing Jack's stare. And in response to his words, Jack grabbed the guy's collar and questioned him. You should have told me that this was the main quest reward. But aren't hidden quest rewards supposed to be random? As he spoke, he looked at Jack as if he were an idiot, making him tremble with rage. But of course, the NPC dared to speak like that because he had backup. Do you have any idea what happens when you mess with an NPC, huh? As he spoke, he pointed to the side and following both their gazes. A few guards in red armor were rushing over to arrest Jack. Damn it, I was so stressed about money that I forgot this is just a game, he thought, gritting his teeth. And for the crime of assaulting an NPC, our guy was sent to jail for 60 minutes. Clang! What do I do now? He said, dejected. He ignored his character and took off his VR headset. You damn game. What the hell do I do now? Maybe I'll just check the current price first. As he said that, Jack quickly accessed the trading website and looked up information about buying and selling Manji's wings. And at last, there was a little bit of good news for him. Someone on the exchange was looking to buy these wings for 1.2 million won. Oh, just a few days ago, I saw this for only 1 million won. Awesome! What am I waiting for? Let's make the trade now, he said excitedly, but then he turned to scold himself. I should have just stuck to grinding and hunting. I could have made about 1.5 million won a month just by selling random stuff. I guess greed really gets you nowhere. At this point, Jack also suddenly saw some information. It made his eyes pop wide open. Wait a minute, what kind of item is this? This is just unbelievable. Following his gaze at that moment, someone was selling a golem with absolutely insane stats. Product information. Category Legend World. Server Unified number 1. Product name Crescent Moon Golem Pans. Selling price 300 million won. Detailed description. Crescent Moon. Gigantes. The Crescent Moon is an ancient magic weapon that unleashes attacks that are as powerful as they are refined, just like its own meticulously forged body. Especially on nights with a waning moon, it's said to possess a peerless power that even a Gigantes cannot withstand. Classification Magic Weapon. Grade Soul, Level 200. Attack Power, 2,150. Defense 5,000. Durability 80,000. Automatically recovers when durability decreases. Back to Jack after reading the information clearly, he shook his head in exasperation. It's a soul-grade pet even higher than unique. But selling a pet for 300 million won, who would even buy that? No one would buy this thing, not even in their wildest dreams. Just then, the notification for the expiration of Jack's stone house ended. This prompted him to immediately log back into the game. Then, although he didn't want to, since he had already accepted this hidden quest, Jack dragged himself over to the blacksmith's shop to find the old man pans for the quest. Why is the durability like this? He asked, making Jack too annoyed to even respond. Ugh, don't even mention it. I thought it was a great hidden quest, but who knew it would give me this pile of junk? Isn't that to be expected? Let me fix it for you. Wait a moment, it's going to be pretty expensive. He said it in a tone that suggested he'd heard this countless times before. Yes, then please fix it for me. And while you're at it, please increase its max durability too, Jack added. But the old man, Pawn, seemed to remember something and asked, Hey, didn't you accept a linked quest with me too? Hearing that, Jack finally remembered his hidden quest. The truth is, he had initially only come here to repair his equipment. And as if on cue after Pans's words, the quest notification window appeared in front of Jack. Linked quest has been activated. Please find Pans. On the other side. The muscular old man also spoke up, giving him the quest. Here's the situation. I'm very interested in the ancient machines said to have been created during the age of magic, that is, golems. The kingdom is currently pouring a lot of effort into manufacturing them. If you bring me the core component needed to create a golem, I will reward you handsomely. After he spoke, the quest notification window also appeared in front of Jack. Quest. Notification Pans's request regarding the strongest machine of the Age of Magic has been activated. Additional restriction. After activating the quest and until its completion, the cost to purchase and repair items will be tripled. Ignoring the notification for now, Jack had to ask again to be sure to avoid a situation like the one with that merchant Teddy. A handsome reward, huh? You're not planning on giving me 100 gold like Teddy did, are you? I don't know. I can only say that it is a worthy reward. The old man's vague answer gave Jack a headache. These NPCs are always like this. He sighed internally, then asked, So what does it look like? I think it's about this big and it's a glossy black color, he said, holding up his pinky finger, which crushed Jack's motivation. What? That's it. So where is it? I heard it's somewhere in Talang Castle. In any case, if you bring it to me, I'll give you a big reward. If you're lucky, you'll find it quickly. And just like that, after leaving the old man's shop, our protagonist started to think about the quest. This is a mandatory quest and will not affect other in-game activities, even while it is ongoing. Difficulty unknown. Reward unknown. Until this quest is completed. It will always appear on the quest list. Well, I guess I have to go to Talang Castle first. But what if it takes another 2 months? On the way, I'll have to take the opportunity to grind some mobs and earn some extra cash, he muttered to himself. An unknown amount of time passed, but now, Jack had finally arrived at the place to find the quest item. After witnessing its scale, he couldn't help but shout, "Oh my God, I knew Talang Castle was huge." But looking for something tiny in here is truly like finding a needle in a haystack. After that, after paying the entrance fee to the soldiers, Jack began to search randomly around the city. However, to be frank, he still had no idea how to find that tiny quest item. In a city this large, after wandering around for a while, Jack decided to ask a nearby shoeshine boy. A shiny black object about the size of a pinky finger, other than shoe polish. I've never seen anything like that, the boy said, shaking his head. After that, he also tried asking a few nearby shops. However, they couldn't provide any useful information either. Even the soldiers had never heard of such a thing. Hey, you're not from around here, are you? Outsiders who want to enter the city must go to the magistrate's office to register their entry, he warned. But just then, suddenly a child's voice piped up from behind Jack. I've heard about it. It's the thing that Pans wants, right? They say it's the heart of a legendary machine. I wonder if it's the black object that Pans is looking for. If it's what he wants, it certainly can't be anything ordinary. Some old mage spoke up, making Jack light up as if he'd found a clue. Sir, do you know where it is? Anywhere is fine. I've been searching all day. Please help me. Hearing his plea, the old man stroked his beard and offered a suggestion. I don't know where it is, but if you go through the city's north gate, you'll find the spring of the broken-winged fairy. Rumor has it there's a lot of treasure there. Really? Jack asked again, his eyes sparkling, which made the old man's hair stand on end. What's wrong with this young man? Where is it exactly? Let me mark it on the map for you, he said, his voice tinged with a little regret, but at least after getting the information, Jack thanked him with sincere gratitude. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Whoa, what a polite young man, the old man said, surprised. Meanwhile, Jack's face was filled with determination. I hope this doesn't take months like the last quest. If I stay this broke, a few more months, and I'll have to quit being a pro gamer. At that thought, Jack started heading straight for the north gate. However, he was immediately stopped by the gate guards. You can't pass through here. The northern region is very dangerous. You're forbidden from going alone. You need to form a party. I've grinded there before, please just let me through, Jack pleaded, but the soldiers' faces remained cold as stone. I said it's forbidden. You want us to throw you out? The two of them threatened, scaring the daylights out of our hero, who immediately scrammed. All right. So dedicated to your job. Hey, outsiders must go to the magistrate's office to register their entry. They reminded him, which only annoyed Jack further. Yeah. After saying that he secretly hid in a corner, looking for a chance to sneak out. When is this going to be over? I'll probably have to wait until the guards change shifts. Thinking this, Jack had his character hide in a corner. As for himself, he logged out to take a short break. So tired. But I have to finish this quest as soon as possible. I'm sure I'm not the only one who got it. Let's see if there are any guides online. No sooner said than done, he immediately started searching for information on the internet. However, the results came back empty, no results found. Even after trying all sorts of different keywords, there was still nothing. And after scouring the entire web, a thought suddenly struck our hero. Could it be that I'm the only one who got this quest? But no way that's possible. But if I'm the first or the only one who can get the reward, maybe this is my chance to change my life, he asked himself. And because of that small hope, that faint hope that he would be the first to complete the quest, he decided to scale the city wall with his bare hands to sneak out. No matter what happens, I have to finish this quest as soon as possible. I will be the winner. He said this with a look on his face like he had acute diarrhea. After climbing the wall, our hero tiptoed forward as quietly as he could. However, even so, he couldn't possibly escape. The soldiers' eyes were on him. Stop! That person is suspicious. Get him! They shouted, rushing towards Jack. But by then, he had already jumped straight down. But that didn't mean Jack was safe, because there was already a patrol squad down below. And just like that, he took off running at full speed, while being chased relentlessly by the guards. It wasn't until our hero managed to climb a tree in the forest that he could be considered to have temporarily shaken them off. Stop chasing me. I'd rather die than get caught. But they're just NPCs. So why are they so persistent? He wondered to himself, watching the soldiers still trying to find him. He's in the forest. Where did he disappear to? Let's try looking over here. Next, after making sure the guards had left. So he took a deep breath and bolted. Luckily, he finally managed to shake them off. A while later, in the northern lands of Talang, at the stream of the broken-winged fairies. Following the old mage's instructions, Rags had found his way to this place. And at this very location, Rags also saw a sign for a recurring quest. Recurring quest. This is the hiding place for items that the greedy fairies have stolen from humans. They have been punished by the gods and had their wings torn off. Defeat 30 fairies at this stream to receive a reward. Quest issued by the captain of the Talang Guard. Back to Rags. Reading this, he started to feel that familiar itch. He couldn't stand not taking action for even a moment. Awesome. I'll just grind this recurring quest and tear this place apart and it'll turn up. He mumbled to himself and began to wipe out the greedy fairies in the area. But based on their appearance, they should be called greedy demons instead. Are there still more of them? He complained as he saw himself swarmed. A dense crowd of fairies. Every time he defeated one of these monsters, he would receive some kind of item from them. You have obtained a broken-winged fairy's tooth. You have obtained a forgotten knight's helm. You have obtained a lady's ruby necklace. Hearing this, Rags himself was a bit stunned. Just how much stuff did these things steal from humans, he thought to himself. And just like that, the slaughter continued from night until dawn. And even though he had a huge level advantage after fighting for so long, and he was starting to feel a bit worn out. Damn, there are so many of them. My inventory is full too. Let's see, it's all teeth, and rings. Just a bunch of junk. As he spoke, Rags started pulling all the junk out of his inventory and tossing it until he suddenly spotted a peculiar item, a strange stone. Notification, a mysterious heart. Quest item. Untradeable. Those were the words the system used to describe this thing. And after seeing this, the big guy's face practically melted with joy. Oh man, I finally found it. He started cheering with delight like a child. Little did he know that his journey of raising a child was about to begin. The scene then shifts to the forge of the old man Bands. Right after getting the quest item, Rags immediately ran back to this place. However, he still had to wait for the old man to check if this was really what he needed. And after waiting for a while for this old guy, our protagonist started to lose patience, slamming his hand on the table and shouting, "How much longer are you going to just stare at it? It's been an hour." His shout made the muscular old man jump. Meanwhile, our protagonist started to persuade him, "If you don't know what to do with it, just consider the quest complete and give me a different reward. Give them back," he demanded, causing the old man to quickly hide the stone and laugh foolishly. "Ha ha ha! This young man is so impatient. This is an item created from ancient magic. Even modern technology can't comprehend it. When you encounter something as rare as this, you have to admire it," Bands explained, but upon hearing it, Rags' eyes widened. "What you mean you were just admiring it, not researching it?" He shouted angrily, but the old man just laughed and asked back, "Don't you know what this is?" "Yeah, I really don't know what it is," Rags admitted with a nod. After hearing this, the old man unceremoniously threw the stone into the forge fire and began his story. "This is an artifact beyond our understanding. It's a combination of ancient magic and the forging techniques of the master Veliki Kobak, according to the records in the book. The teachings of Veliki Kobak, which has been passed down among us blacksmiths, this item can only unleash its full power in the fire." Not paying any mind to the old man's story from the dinosaur age, Rags's eyes were now bloodshot as if he'd gone mad. "Veliki Kobak or Vico Dancer or whatever. I don't care, get it out of there for me." "Ha ha, this young man is so impatient." He repeated the same line again exactly like an NPC without any AI. And then following his request, Bands put his tongs in and clamped down on the stone, pulling it out. The only difference was that now, it had transformed into a cube that fit perfectly in the palm of a hand. "I will now give you your reward," he said as he placed the cube on a plate and presented it to Rags. "Go on, touch it. It's not hot at all. Over here." After hearing that, Rags really did reach out and touch it, and right after that, a look of shock appeared in his eyes. "It's so cold, don't tell me you gave me a magic prop to perform with in front of people," Rags asked idly just before the system notification screen appeared. "You received the mysterious opaque cube as a quest reward." After seeing Jack touch the cube, Pants also patted his shoulder. Then he gave him an incredibly charming smile. "It's yours now." His somewhat feminine smile started to give Jack goosebumps. "Don't smile at me like that. You can't attack an NPC." With that thought, he hurried out of the smithy. Before the old man could do anything inappropriate, the scene shifts to a forest not far from Jack. After looking around and making sure no one was there, Jack began to examine the cube he had just received. "What in the world am I supposed to do with this thing? If only I had asked him what was written in that Pladon's Dancer book." Wait a minute, was it PLE Dan's Dancer? Speaking of which, he tried connecting to the external network to check, but couldn't find any results. Still no results at all. "What am I supposed to do with you? Are you just a piece of junk? It's a bound item, so I can't even sell it. What on earth is it for?" Jack sighed in frustration. But it seemed like the heavens heard his complaint, because right after that, the cube emitted a brilliant flash of light, and then before Jack's astonished eyes, it began to break apart into many pieces. Finally, it transformed into a red sphere hovering in midair. After waiting for everything to settle down, a tiny creature that looked like a native tribesman appeared before him. Upon seeing his quest item turn into this tiny little guy, the big guy's face went completely blank. "What is this now? Oh, for crying out loud! I've been getting nothing but junk rewards lately." He sat dejectedly by a tree trunk. Meanwhile, the little guy seemed to sense his sadness, so it started to run over and comfort him, which made Jack feel a little better. At that moment, a notification was also sent to Jack. The entity that has long been asleep in the mysterious opaque cube has recognized you as its master and broken the seal. You have become the master of the magic machine. Gigantes Dark. Hearing the word Gigantes, his eyes lit up because he remembered that the giant golem of that name was listed for 300 million. Gold on the exchange. And just like that, the little piece of trash in Jack's eyes turned into a huge gold nugget. I've hit the jackpot. Awesome! He jumped and laughed, unable to close his mouth. But very quickly, Jack realized there was a difference in their names. Wait a minute. The 300 million one was Gigantes Crescent, but mine is Gigantes Dark. I'd better check again. As he spoke, he quickly opened the little guy's information window to check. Gigantes Dark. True to its name, everything about it is shrouded in darkness in its current state. It seems nothing can be expected from it. Classification Gigantes. Grade Normal. Level 1. Attack Power Unknown. Defense Unknown. Durability Unknown. Skills Unknown. Special Features. Also unknown. Bound, cannot be sold or traded. Reading this far, our protagonist almost fainted. Especially the two lines stating, "Nothing can be expected in its current state," along with the stupid binding. "Cannot be sold or traded," which made his heart ache even more. What the hell is this? So in its current state, it's useless, and I can't even sell it or give it away. If I email the Legend World administrators now, they probably won't reply. They're known for only responding to issues related to game bugs or accounts, but still it's a Gigantes. It must be useful for something, right? Jack thought with a bit of anticipation. But when he saw the tiny golem's speed couldn't even keep up with a rabbit, he could only laugh like a madman. Well, first things first, I'll just have to level it up. That's the most basic thing. The scene changes to a lush green forest. This is a level 20 hunting zone. Right now, in a corner of the forest, a group of monsters was enjoying a meal before they were interrupted by Jack and Gigantes Dark. "All right, Dark, show me your power," he shouted, pointing forward to order the little guy to charge and attack. Following Jack's command, the little guy's whole body began to emit a dangerous aura. It surprised him a little. Whoa, that looks pretty intimidating. The name Gigantes will definitely make others wary. "All right, let's go," he said with eyes full of expectation. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, the pack of wolf monsters also noticed Dark charging at them and shouted a warning to their comrades. "Someone's here to cause trouble." "What? Who's so bold?" the white dog and orange pig said in surprise. As they watched, Dark's entire body was emitting an overwhelming presence. It made them tremble in fear, unable to move, and right after that, the little guy gave the gray wolf a shoulder check right to the face. At the same time, Jack, who was behind him, received a notification Gigantes Dark has acquired the skill Headbutt. "Fantastic," Jack said, with a bright smile, seeing his new acquisition get a skill so easily. Back in the battle, the damage from that headbutt was a big fat 0. A total contrast to the powerful aura the little guy was giving off. And as if that wasn't enough, Dak even gave the gray wolf another kick to the leg, which made the gray wolf completely realize that Dak's attack power was at a newborn's level. If that was the case, there was no need to be afraid anymore. It immediately jumped back to its feet and gathered its strength for a kick. It kicked the little guy square in the chest, sending him flying like a balloon. What the hell? I've never seen such an insolent brat stomp him to death! The whole pack of mutts shouted in unison and began stomping the little guy without mercy, forcing his master, Jack, to rush in from behind to save him. "Hey, hey! Stop it!" the young dad roared and started laying into the entire mob of monsters. "Hey, Dak, are you okay?" he asked with concern, but the little guy just let out a few sounds, "Coo, coo, coo, coo," leaving Jack completely unable to tell if that meant he was okay or not. And before he could figure it out, Dak had rolled over and was out cold, sleeping like a log. Was he just tired, or was a level 20 dungeon too much for him? That has to be it. Even though he's a Gigantes, he's only level 1. A level 20 dungeon is probably too much. Let's try an easier hunting zone. With that thought, he changed course and headed for the level 15 earthworm hunting zone. But the result wasn't much different from the level 20 zone because as soon as the battle began, the little guy had to surrender to the earthworms. Left with no other choice, Jack had to lower the difficulty again, heading to the level 10 gentle water buffalo hunting zone. And there, even the gentle buffalo saw him as food, and so Jack had to take Dak to the level 5 fennec fox hunting zone. But even after dropping the level to near rock bottom, Dak still couldn't defeat these cute little foxes, and Jack's face was slowly losing all patience. Finally, he hauled his companion's sorry butt to the level 1 Jocka wild rabbit hunting zone. And just as our protagonist feared little Dak couldn't even fight off this flock of weaklings, this completely crushed his spirits. Oh, for crying out loud, if you can't even hunt a single level 1 monster on your own, what the hell good are you? I sound like a father scolding his son. It was so much trouble to get you, and you turn out to be this useless. This is driving me insane. I can't abandon him, and I can't sell him either. There's no information or guides on the forums either. Whatever, you can just stay put in my inventory. A guide is bound to show up sooner or later, whether it's on how to raise him or how to use him. As he spoke, he quickly shoved Dak into his inventory, remembering his empty pockets. He's been so busy he hasn't done any quests to earn money. I've got to go grind, he said to himself quickly, making his way to the rebel territory, the level 150 rebel night hunting zone. What's for dinner tonight? Probably rabbit meat again, I'm so sick of it. The soldiers chatted amongst themselves, unaware that the Grim Reaper had already called their names the moment a dirt-poor guy like Jack laid eyes on this place. All right, I'm here. Time to earn some cash. I've wasted way too much time on that useless thing. Let's go. As he spoke, he jumped straight down into the encampment below, causing the soldiers to frantically yell, "Who is that? We have an intruder! Intruder! Warning! Intruder alert!" The knight in the watchtower quickly rang the warning bell, and in no time a squad of knights assembled and rushed toward our protagonist. However, them gathering like this was exactly what he wanted. The moment he saw them, Jack activated his skill Mark of the Blood War. Duration 300 seconds, attack speed plus 30%, movement speed plus 20%, lose 5% of health every 10 seconds. Let's get started, he said with a grin and charged directly into the group of knights. And it seems Jack's strength was nothing to scoff at. With his sword in hand and his skill activated, he was able to easily defeat all of the Black Knights. In just a short while, the entire group lay defeated before his power. Now let's see, he said aloud. He checked the system notifications. Rebel Insignia 1042, an insignia proving you have defeated a rebel. Bring this insignia to the palace to receive a reward. Unidentified Rebel Pouch 1035. Open this pouch to receive the loot collected by the rebels. You cannot know what is inside until it is opened. Closing the system window, Jack was quite satisfied with his haul. Around 40 rebel insignias and over 30 pouches. This is enough for a day's wages. I need to get back to the city and clear out my inventory before these monsters respawn. I'm so exhausted, he said, exasperated. The scene shifts to a corner of the city. Watching the bustling crowd pass by made Zack feel a little pleased. Big cities are really something else. It's already night, but it's still this lively. With that thought, he quickly entered a general store to sell his junk. I'm here to sell some things. I've also got a few more bags of items. I'm selling all of it, Zack said as he quickly took out his items. Meanwhile, the shop owner pulled out a monocle to inspect them carefully. Rebel insignia, huh? But before he could finish his inspection, Zack pulled out several other sacks. Tally up this whole pile, too, over on this side. Seeing this, the shop owner looked a bit weary. It's all junk, but there are a few gemstones. Here you go, 5 gold, the man said as he took out the corresponding amount of money. But Zack immediately switched into haggler mode and yelled, I've been eating and sleeping in the rebel hideout for days hunting extra monsters. Come on, give me a little more, will ya? Rebel gear is a dime a dozen these days. The market's completely flooded. What can I do? The shop owner hastily explained, which made our protagonist curious. What? How can there be so much stuff from level 150 monsters? Hearing this, the shopkeeper realized Zack was clueless. So he pointed to the poster behind him. You haven't heard? Tons of players have been rushing to hunt down the last of the tot rebels for the royal reward. Stuff like these rebel insignia are all over the market now. Back to Zack hearing what the shop owner said. He had no choice but to accept the price. At the same time, Zack's attention was drawn to the royal reward. A reward from the royal family, huh? I hear the reward is huge and you can even build up merit to get more quests. Maybe I should join in too. Yeah, let's do it. I've wasted so much time on that bizarre quest. Zack silently hatched a plan. By the next morning, he had immediately headed to the Royal Army's barracks to join the eradication campaign. And so you wish to join the campaign to annihilate the Tot rebels? The commander asked. Zack stood at attention and replied with his most formal posture, "Yes, sir, I will do my best." "Very good. We will hire you as a mercenary for the Royal Army. Put on this cloak. It is the symbol of a mercenary." As he spoke, he tossed a cloak to Zack, who couldn't resist, equipping it immediately. Meanwhile, the commander began his instructions. "We, the Royal Army, fight for the honor of the kingdom and Talang. Go now and fight. I commend your courage." After that, since this was a long campaign, Zack had to get to work building himself a tent. "All right, then. Setting up camp here should be fine. To grind efficiently, I'm going to need this." As he spoke, he quickly took out his tools and got to work. In no time at all, a simple tent appeared. Complete a cozy bed, convenient storage, and a proper cooking stove. This is perfect. "Well then, shall we begin?" he said, cracking his knuckles as if he couldn't wait any longer. Itching for a fight, Zack immediately started hunting down the Tot knights to spill some blood on the very first day. The second and third days proceeded in much the same way. The haul was incredibly lucrative, leaving our general very satisfied. "At this rate, I'm going to make a fortune. First, let's just store all this miscellaneous stuff in the chest. Oh, and I even got some gemstones," he said cheerfully. But just a moment later, Zack suddenly realized something terrible and his face drained of color. "Wait a minute, something's not right. I've been grinding so hard. But how did my level only go from 131 to 135? The Tot rebels are all high-level monsters for me. Grinding for days, and I only get this much experience?" As he thought this, his eyes rolled back in their sockets. However, after throwing a fit inside his tent for a bit, the general calmed down a little to think. Could this be a feature of this quest? Or maybe... could it be? He thought, glancing over at the icon for the little guy Dak, and immediately summoned him. Then, after rechecking the kid's info, this genius did a spit take all over the screen. "What the hell is this? Impossible! How did he level up? And it's already reached level 15. I'm sure I put it in my inventory. Don't tell me experience is shared even when it's in the inventory." The more Jack thought about it, the bleaker his future seemed. "It does nothing but suck up all my experience." He sighed in utter exasperation. But as if sensing Jack's mood, Dak started clinging to him, looking up with such sparkling eyes that Jack took a critical hit of emotional damage. That was a heavy blow to my spirit. Don't look at me with those eyes. Still, it is pretty cute." Time passed quickly, and after a while, Jack turned to Dak annoyed as the little guy was rummaging through everything. "I don't get what this pet is even for. It sucks up my experience and doesn't even help me pick up items. It doesn't have the basic functions of a pet, but I can't bring myself to throw it away." He pondered for a moment, then an idea suddenly came to him. Maybe I should just delete my account and start over. It's like quitting your job to become an intern again. As he thought this, he noticed the little guy digging through something in his inventory and asked quizzically, "Hey, Dak, all that stuff is just junk." Ignoring Jack's words, Dak continued to dig for something until he lifted up a small shield. "Dak has obtained the Tot rebels' small shield." A notification popped up as Jack watched. Seeing how much his little sidekick treasured it, Jack felt a bit awkward. What's so great about that thing? It wouldn't even sell for much. Hearing that, Dak quickly clutched his shield. He also chirped a few times, as if wanting to keep it. Jack had no choice. Since this piece of junk wasn't worth much anyway, he let him have it. Fine. Take it and play. You look like a little Spartan warrior. Now just go play by yourself, okay? It'd be even better if you learned to be independent and ran away from home," he said as he started to lie down. Time passed quickly until the next morning. Now, Jack opened his map and chose a hunting spot. "All right, where should I go today?" 3 main areas were displayed on Jack's map, including the Tot Rebels' lair, the Tot Rebels' outpost, and the Tot Rebels' headquarters. "I've already cleared the outpost and the lair. Next up is the headquarters, I guess. I heard the boss Maximus is in there." At my current level, fighting him would just get me sent to the graveyard, but just grinding at the lair and the outpost won't earn me any merit points. I have to find a way to hunt him without being discovered. As he spoke, Jack began to stroke his chin thoughtfully until Dak suddenly pulled on his leg from behind, surprising him. "Hey, haven't you gone inside yet?" In response, Dak put on those sparkling eyes again as if begging to come along. However, dragging a burden like this around would be a huge pain, so Jack didn't hesitate to throw him back into the inventory one more time. "Get in the inventory. I have to go finish my mission." The scene changes to the Tot Rebels' headquarters. At this moment, our protagonist was sneaking around the area scouting the situation. Maximus, leader of the rebels. Recommended level 155. Regular mobs at level 150 are fine since they have low health, but this boss is level 155 and a total tank. It's best to be careful until I've leveled up a bit more, Jack thought to himself. But just then, a Tot soldier suddenly spotted his figure and shouted, "Someone's over there!" Jack immediately pulled out a throwing knife and hurled it straight at the knight's face, without a single moment's delay. It was also a critical hit, making him log out in an instant. I need to act stealthily and finish them off cleanly to avoid being detected, he told himself as he began to silently take out stray soldiers. Additional info. During a sneak attack, if the attack is considered an assassination, it will receive bonus critical damage. Back to the story, the scene switches to Commander Maximus. It seems that after standing around bored with nothing to do, he blurted out, "I'm bored to death. Hey, bring me some wine and meat." However, his words were met with complete silence, which annoyed him greatly. "What's going on? Where has everyone gone?" Maximus said angrily before he suddenly sensed something. He immediately swung his sword towards the tent behind him, creating a blade of energy that flew straight forward. The force of this attack blew the tent away, instantly revealing Jack's figure inside. Who are you? State your name," Maximus demanded, while Jack, on the other hand, felt nothing but regret. "Damn it, I was about to make a clean getaway. So NPCs can get bored, huh?" Back to the commander, after looking at Jack's uniform, he recognized his identity. "Judging by that cloak, you're a mercenary from the Royal Legion." "You came all the way from Talon. If you already know, why bother asking? Since it's come to this, I'll just have to risk it. The difference in our levels and health is pretty big, but there are no other mobs around. As long as I can figure out his attack patterns and dodge properly, I still have a chance to win. If I have to, I can just run for a bit and he'll probably give up," Zack thought to himself, but the Commander Maximus immediately charged forward, giving him no more time to think. And in the very instant their two swords clashed, our main character felt an immense difference in power. He was immediately pushed back by this commander, who took advantage of his loss of balance. He then followed up with a kick to Zack's stomach, sending him flying like a ragdoll. But before Zack could even get up, the Knight Commander was already right in front of him. At the same time, he swung his sword to attack. A huge explosion erupted, attracting the attention of the remaining soldiers. To the command post, that was General Maximus's attack. All troops fall back to the command post. Surround the area above and set up offensive and defensive positions. Clear orders were given one by one, helping the soldiers quickly regroup. The formation returned to the battle. It seems Maximus's last attack wasn't enough to take Zack down, but even so, he knew this was going to be a tough fight. "Countless players have already fallen before me. You're not even level 140 and you dare to challenge me," he said with a laugh, and Zack had to admit it. "Tisk, it seems I underestimated you." After speaking, he bit his lip, thinking about how to escape this situation. But before he could think any further, a notification screen suddenly appeared. "Special skill Gigantes' Master Protection has been activated." As the notification sounded, little Dak came out on his own without Zack's permission. Huh, what the hell is this now? Our hero's eyes went wide, still not understanding what was going on. On the other side, after seeing a tiny creature standing defiantly before him, question marks began to pop up over General Maximus's head. "What is this? What is this cute little beast?" "All right, the skill's been activated. Do something." "If I fight him one-on-one, I'll definitely lose," Zack urged. It's unclear what the kid said in reply, but as soon as the commander heard it, he became furious. "What, this ugly beast dares to provoke me?" After speaking, he brought his sword down directly on Dak, but was blocked by a red shield emanating from the little guy. Seeing this, Maximus began to swing his sword faster. He unleashed countless slashes against the shield. However, it was only enough to push Dak back. He couldn't break through it at all. "What?" "It blocked my attack," he cried out in shock, while Zack, standing behind, was also dumbfounded. "What, that tiny little shield blocked his attack? An attack that's strong enough to pulverize someone?" Back to the commander, having his attack blocked by such a weak creature was starting to annoy him. "Let's see how long you can keep that up." As he spoke, he began to gather power into his sword and slammed it down, creating a massive explosion. Meanwhile, our main character also used this chance to charge in and attack. "Don't you turn your back on me. This is my chance for a critical hit." As he thought this, our hero rushed in to get a sneak attack on the boss from behind, causing the commander to lose his balance and fly forward. And after successfully sending the boss flying, Zack didn't forget to turn to his little buddy and give him some praise. Nice one, awesome. Back to the commander. Although Zack's attack didn't cause much actual damage, the humiliation damage was extremely high. These damn bastards! This time I will definitely finish you. Having said his piece, he stomped his feet and shot forward like an arrow. Meanwhile, on the other side, our main character saw this and frowned with regret. Damn it, that was almost a critical hit. Next, Zack gripped his sword tightly and prepared to block Maximus's attack. But at that very moment, the commander's sword lunged forward, little Dak rushed in front of Zack and activated his shield skill, causing the sword to stop dead in its tracks. Zack immediately realized that the boss was distracted by Dak, so he quickly circled around to the back, and he put all his strength into a slash aimed right at the nape of its neck, intending to finish it with a critical hit. However, it seems the critical hit didn't activate, so Maximus's head just wobbled a little. He managed to recover and immediately swung his sword behind him to attack. Luckily, Zack managed to lean back in time to dodge, and the moment his attack failed was Zack's chance to land the finishing blow. He took advantage of the opening before the commander could pull his sword back to defend and thrust his own sword forward. It pierced through his chest, ensuring this guy had no chance to turn the tables. Just like that, the commander's whole body began to dissolve into lines of data as he cried out in frustration. No, it can't be to be defeated by this weakling. After he finished speaking, the commander officially bit the dust. But at least he left Zack a present. Ooh, what's this reward? He said with a voice full of joy. However, before Zack could even check it, the other soldiers from the Tot faction had already swarmed in. Over there, fire! Someone shouted. And right after that, a rain of arrows came flying directly at Zack, forcing him to quickly grab the chest. He took off like a shot, but luckily Dak immediately stepped up and used another shield skill to block all the arrows. Amazing. That's a professional tank for you. The old general didn't hold back his praise right after that. He told Doc he would go on ahead and immediately vanished, leaving his subordinate behind. Then, by some miracle. By evening, the kid Dak had returned safely. At this point, Jack had to reevaluate the kid's abilities. It seems he's actually useful, huh? He thought to himself, then walked over and patted the kid's head as a reward. You've worked hard, Dak. I can't believe you managed to block Maximus's attack like that. After this is done, he noticed the wooden chest beside them and opened it. The loot inside was incredible, in Jack's eyes right at this moment. As the chest opened, it revealed countless rare items inside. First was the Sea Dragon leather armor, a set made from the hide of a sea dragon with scales that offered extremely high defense. Item class rare, durability 12,000, defense 400. Effects all stats plus 40 physical power plus 10% negates level 4 magic and below. HP recovery speed plus 100% mana. Recovery speed plus 60% can use the Sea Dragon shield skill once per day. Equipment restriction can only be used after a class change. The next item was the Blazing Jewel. It's a magic bomb created by the Archmage Merlin. Once used, it can level an entire area. Its immense destructive power classifies it as a strategic weapon with immeasurable attack power. Medallion of the Rebel General Maximus, a medallion. A. To proving you have defeated the rebel general. Bring this medallion to the palace to receive a handsome reward. Those were the three main items inside the chest. Besides those, there were many other valuable things. Seeing all this, Jack couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear. Even though he couldn't wear the Sea Dragon leather armor immediately, he was sure he'd be able to soon enough. As for the Blazing Jewel, he'd keep it on him just in case. And with this, the kingdom's quest is complete. Time to head back. And just like that, time passed quickly until the next morning. As soon as the sun was up, Jack immediately took his proof to turn in the quest to the commander of the Allied forces. However, when he handed in the quest, the commander just stood there completely frozen, making him a little worried about whether he had actually completed the mission or not. Hey, so is my quest complete?" he asked, then started glancing left and right as the commander remained still as a statue. Jack even started to wonder if this was a game bug. Why was he just standing there so silently? However, Jack's worries were a bit unnecessary, because right after that, the commander reacted. It was just that he was quite surprised Jack had managed to complete the mission so quickly. That's why he was a little stunned. You have completed the mission brilliantly. I never expected to meet a talent like you here. My loyalty has not been in vain." As he spoke, he gave Jack a powerful hug, causing him to foam at the mouth. Only when the old man's face turned purple did the commander finally let him go, but not without patting his shoulder a few times. "I'd love to keep you here to help quell the rebellion. But hiding a talent like you would be a disservice to the kingdom. Take this Maximus medallion to the kingdom's administrative office. You will receive a reward worthy of your efforts. After speaking, he waved goodbye to Jack, but this just annoyed him to no end. Why not just give him the reward here? It would be so much faster instead of making him go all the way somewhere else. What a pain. Scene changed to the administrative office. Inside the main hall, it was filled with the clamor of countless, yet other players' voices. Is this all the reward is? Where's Game Master? Get out here. That guard attacked me. All sorts of disgruntled shouts began to ring out. It made Jack sigh in exasperation. It's noisy everywhere, just like some kind of chaotic ward. Thinking this, he looked towards an NPC and guessed, this must be the place. I wonder if the reward is any good. If it's too big, the value of the items I picked up will drop, Jack worriedly thought to himself, before he realized that someone seemed to be staring at him, which sent a shiver down his spine. Why has that girl been staring at me this whole time? She seems to be a player. Turning back to the red-haired old man, the NPC, it seemed these players kept bringing in useless proof to demand rewards, which had made him extremely angry. I can't reward you for something so trivial. Get lost! He shouted, slamming the table, which made the young player tremble in fear before running away in tears. Seeing this from behind, Jack started to get a little worried about his own situation. What, aren't we just here to get a reward? Up ahead, the old man saw that Jack had heard him. Seeing that he still hadn't left, he asked sternly, Hey, aren't you leaving? I've wiped out the rebel hideout. Here's the medallion, he demanded. Jack quickly took out the proof of Maximus's defeat to show him. And indeed, a boss's medallion was completely different. The moment he saw it, the red-bearded uncle broke into a smile. Well, well. So you brought the insignia of that bastard Maximus here? See, only insignias like this one are worth anything. Understand how it's done now. Ha ha! The man laughed as he grabbed his subordinate by the head to lecture him. This was starting to get on Jack's nerves. Come on, don't lecture someone right in front of me, he thought to himself, then awkwardly spoke up. So, does this mean the quest is complete? Of course. The man gave him a thumbs up. Then countless system notification windows appeared around Jack. You have received 5,000 gold as a reward. Royal contribution points plus 2,000. You have received the title Rebel Annihilator. You have been granted access to the office of Delt Captain of the First Royal Knight Order. Title Rebel Annihilator. This title is awarded to those who have defeated the leader of the rebel army. Effect attack. Power plus 20. Increases trust with the royal family. 10% discount when shopping at stores owned by the Clyde Royal Elite. By the way, the red-haired man in front of you is Delt. Indeed. I am Delt Captain of the First Knight Order of the Clyde Royal Family. You are a truly talented warrior. Return to me when you have grown stronger, and I shall give you an important mission. Yeah, I get it. Jack nodded as he spoke, his attention on the system window that had just appeared. Attention from Delt Captain of the First Knight Order of the Clyde Royal Family has taken notice of you, after hearing news of you defeating the rebel leader, a feat that even they could not accomplish. It seems he will assign you an important quest in the future. Quest activation condition. Meet Delt after your third job advancement. The third job advancement, that's level 150, isn't it? I guess I'll just have to grind until then, Jack muttered to himself. However, just as he was about to step out of the administration building, another person arrived just like him to claim the reward for defeating Commander Maximus. Oh, you've brought the insignia of that bastard Maximus. Here as well. Delt's surprised voice rang out, causing Jack to quickly turn his head to look. Another one, is this person just like me? Seeing this, he was sure that the other person would also get a hidden quest from Delt, just like he did. So he started thinking about forming a party with that player in order to level up faster. Who knows, maybe I'll even get carried. The more Jack thought about it, the more he felt his decision was brilliant, so he went and waited outside the door. He'd wait for this girl to come out and then make his move. What's taking her so long? Jack said, watching the door. The moment he saw her step out, he hurried over to greet her. Oh, there you are. Hey, it looks like you just took down Maximus. If you also got the job advancement quest, why don't we party up to grind levels together? He said, extending his hand. However, his offer was met with a chilling, scornful silence from the girl. Then she simply turned and walked away, leaving our hero utterly embarrassed. Huh, what was that? Did I do something wrong? He wondered. Jack began to rationalize to himself. It's not like I actually wanted to get to know her. For all I know, she's probably a dude in real life. Ah, whatever. I'll just go to sleep and deal with it tomorrow. With that, he quickly logged out to get some rest after days of tedious grinding. The scene changes to the Darklands. Recommended level is for players between 120 and 150. Only then should you drag yourself here to grind. This is a harsh land where the sun never sets. However, while the recommended level is 120 even players at level, 150 can easily die if they get swarmed in these Darklands. It's a place where even high-level players can be killed if they're not careful. And right now our protagonist is also in this area. Although his level is a bit on the low side, there's nowhere else left for him to grind. I need to hurry up with my third job advancement and get that quest from the kingdom, he said, his voice filled with determination. As for the little skull-faced kid beside him, it was unclear if it understood anything at all, but it let out a few chirps as if it did. You understand what I'm saying, right? All right then. Remember to attract the monster's attention just like last time, and let me unleash my attack. The little one chirped a few times as if in reply. It's best to aim for the dark spirits first, Jack instructed, but before he could even finish his sentence, the little guy shot forward like an arrow, making Jack's eyes widen in shock. Hey! That stone statue is as tough as Maximus, you know. Such a troublemaker. I have no choice, Jack said, feeling a familiar ache in his gut. Back with Dak, the little guy was doing a great job luring the monsters as the horde of stone statues couldn't break through his shield. But naturally, Jack couldn't just let his little sidekick get beaten up forever, so he had to charge in with his sword to the rescue, shattering a stone golem in front of him. Jack let out a weary sigh because it had already been 7 days in the Darklands. He'd been grinding with his little buddy in the scorching heat, but his level had only increased by a measly 2. This is killing me. As he spoke, Jack plopped down on the ground. The only one thriving was Dak. The little guy had already hit level 30. And every time Jack tried to take a little break, that damn troublemaker would start pulling more monsters, charging in like a moth to a flame and driving Jack absolutely insane. Looking at the horde of monsters hot on his heels, Jack started to feel sorry for himself. Even the slaves who built the pyramids in Egypt got to rest. But whatever, I'll just treat this as a chance to grind my level up, he told himself, gripping his sword tightly to prepare for another fight. And after he was done, with this wave of monsters, his health hit rock bottom. He almost died. But man, our teamwork was perfect. Dak did a great job drawing the monsters' attention so I could comfortably land critical hits until they were wiped out. He thought to himself while silently waiting for his health to recover, but perhaps because he sat there for too long, he started getting some negative status effects. You are suffering from sunstroke. All stats are reduced by 30% for 6 hours. The effect and its duration will increase if you do not rest. Bright red notifications started to pop up one by one. This made Jack hastily scan his surroundings for a place to hide. This is too dangerous. Maybe I should set up camp nearby. No sooner said than done, our hero immediately found a suitable spot and got to work building a tent. By the time he was finished, he looked as if he had just taken a shower. The tent's shelter effect has been activated. You are now recovering. Adverse effects will disappear one by one. The notification sounds chimed in. Jack felt a wave of relief. After all, it was already hot enough here to get sunstroke. The campfire's effect is even stronger than the sunstroke debuff. The developers must have wanted to make things harder for the players. Speaking of which, Jack got annoyed again and turned to shout at his little companion Dak. This is why I said we need to rest properly. If we had, we wouldn't have had to stop in this godforsaken place. Putting the sunstroke issue aside, Jack then opened the map and considered his next plan. Okay, we're here now. We've gone far from the edge of the Darklands. Since we're this deep in, we have to take down the boss. The recommended level is 170, but with Dak, maybe I can actually beat it. If we succeed, we'll get tons of experience. Let's see. I'll search the forums for info on the Darklands boss, he said quickly, accessing the external internet network. And very quickly, Jack found the information he needed. Boss spawn mechanism in the Darklands, boss spawn areas this past week. On the map, an arrow icon was marking the boss's last known location. It was the last place a player had seen it, and if he walked from his current position, lucky, it would probably take Jack about 3 days to get there. However, it seems the boss's spawn location is random. At this point, he started using all of his brain power to recall the latest adjustments in this game. Let's see, is there anything else to note? After update 1.95811, a hidden boss called the Demon Godstone statue appeared in the Darklands, and it's so strong that even a massive army couldn't defeat it. Doesn't that make it a raid boss? I heard it's twice the size of other normal bosses, but there's no announcement about the demon god stone statue on the homepage. What kind of game management is this? Jack wondered, but then he shook his head and pushed the issue aside. Oh well, it'd be really unlucky to run into it, but I can't be that unlucky, right? This map is huge after all. Turning towards Dak for some reason, the little guy suddenly rushed over and hugged Jack, which surprised him a bit. Whoa, what are you doing? But before Jack could ask anything else, right where Dak's face was pressed against him, Jack felt a terrible burning sensation and quickly stood up. My God, that's hot. After saying that, he hurriedly touched the boy's face to check and then exclaimed, "Oh my God, you're burning up. Are you storing heat in your body?" Hearing Jack's words, Dak immediately unleashed a wave of intense heat. That looks impressive, but it's not as warm as the campfire, Jack said with a nod, but he had no idea that danger was approaching them both, just as a large red figure approached their tent. Back with Jack. Dak, I'm not putting you in the inventory anymore. Go on and rest. You don't like it in there anyway. He reminded him, then opened the map again to check. When a monster appears, it'll show up on the mini-map. I'll just keep an eye on that until the sunstroke wears off. As he thought this, his eyes grew heavy as if he could fall asleep at any moment. And just as predicted, our hero passed out cold. An unknown amount of time passed. At this moment, Jack started to wake up, scratching his head in embarrassment. Oh man, I fell asleep. But why is it so quiet? Maybe the monster respawn time is longer than usual. As he spoke, our hero peeked his head outside to take a look, and what greeted him was an enormous demon god along with bright red warning notifications. What is this? Did the boss just spawn? All right, Dak. Get up quick. I need you to fight the boss. At this, he quickly grabbed Dak and bolted before the demon god could stomp them both flat. The violent shaking as he ran slowly woke the little boy up. However, before the kid could even get his bearings, a giant foot descended from the sky. It almost killed us both. What the hell is this thing? It has an invisibility skill too. Jack screamed in terror as he got a clear look at the massive monster's silhouette, while the demon god also raised its leg, intending to finish them off with a single stomp. But Dak, with his hyperactive nature, couldn't possibly pass up a fight like this. Without waiting for Jock, he charged forward to meet it head-on, startling Jock. "No way, Dak, we have to run this time," he said worriedly, but it was already too late. Just as the demon god's giant foot came crashing down, Dak activated his shield skill. A huge explosion erupted at the point of impact. With no other choice, while Dak's shield could still temporarily hold it back for a bit, Jiak had to charge in for the rescue even though he didn't want to. "This is crazy, screw it." As he spoke, he sped up and started climbing the red-skinned giant's body. At the same time, he gathered power into his sword and slammed it right into its forehead. Unfortunately, however, he had underestimated the demon god's defense. His attack didn't even leave a scratch. What's more, it nearly put Jiak in a dangerous situation as the demon god started to raise its hand, preparing to swat him like a mosquito. Luckily, Jiak was quick-witted and noticed in time to dodge aside. After that, it seems our hero realized his attacks were useless, so he proactively climbed back down to avoid the danger from before. But for some reason, after only 3 seconds of calm, he got fired up again, leaping right back onto the demon god for an all-out fight. And just as you'd expect, the result this time was different, because the boss was prepared this time. All it had to do was raise its hand, and with a single slap, it sent Jiak flying like a rat. Its powerful blow slammed our protagonist's entire body into the ground. Meanwhile, little Dak's situation wasn't any better, as the shield he'd created so cracked and shattered under the pressure of the foot. Finally, when the shield could hold no longer, the demon god stomped him flat. Gigante's Dark has died. Experience of Gigante's Dark has been reduced. A notification sound rang out, leaving Jiak stunned. As for the giant, and after dealing with the kid, it immediately turned its attention to him, making Jock want to scream. "This is insane! How am I supposed to fight it alone?" It took out Dak in a single hit. As he said this, he remembered he still had the explosive flame orb item. He took it out and mumbled, "I wonder if this will work. Take this." After speaking, he aimed the orb at the demon god and activated it, causing it to spew a violent torrent of fire straight at the creature, not even bothering to see if it was hurt or not. So Rarp immediately turned and ran for it. Time to retreat, he thought happily, but he was still a bit unlucky because that tiny little flame only had a minor effect on the demon god's eyes. With just a small flap of its wings, it was blown away. And Rarp's little stunt just now seemed to have completely enraged the monster. So when it saw Rarp running away, it began to gather power in its fist and slammed it straight into the ground, creating a powerful shockwave. It shot straight towards him, sending our hero to his death in an instant. You have died. Your level has been reduced. You will be forced to log out. You will be unable to log in for the next 24 hours. Because of the death penalty, the familiar system sounds chimed in, making Jack just sigh and take off his VR headset. Ugh, this is so frustrating. I was so close to making a clean getaway. Who knew that stupid Dak would go and cause trouble? I can't tell if it's a curse or a treasure. As he said that, his stomach started to growl, making him glance at the clock and mumble. It's already dinner time. I've been starving all day. I'll just order some fried chicken. After all, I've earned a decent amount of gold. Then, with the food laid out in front of him, Rarp cracked open a can of beer and turned on a news channel about Legend World. Ah, this is the life. He let out a satisfied laugh as he took a swig of beer. Just then, the news report caught his attention. It seems that the new pet, recently updated in Legend World, is causing quite a stir, isn't it? That's right, it was only a rumor before. But at 2 p.m. this afternoon, Legend World's game monster officially confirmed it. The new pet has no stat limitations. A player can train it to be as strong as they like. So its value is immense, the male host explained. The female host on the other side heard this and grew curious. Really? So how can you get one? It can be obtained through a special quest, or by finding it on the map. But according to Game Monster, fewer than 10 players on the entire server will be able to own one. Hearing this, the female host was genuinely amazed. Really? In that case, it's an extremely rare pet. Exactly. Its estimated market value is around 1.5 billion won. Has anyone sold one yet? The female host asked again. 10 pets were released onto the map, and one of them has already been obtained by a player. Oh. So that means there are only 9 left in Legend World. Back to Jack hearing the two hosts talk. He immediately figured this was just a gimmick by the game company to attract new and returning players. However, he froze at what came next. At the male host's next words. That's right. Furthermore, once the pet is unlocked, it becomes untradeable. So it's unlikely anyone will be selling theirs. What's the pet's name? Its name is Gigantes Dark, the host said excitedly, causing Jack to spit out a mouthful of beer. It's equipped with the most advanced artificial intelligence, with the ability to make its own judgments and respond to any situation. The host continued to explain, while our hero's face was a mask of pure disbelief. To that useless thing is worth 1.5 billion won. 1.5 billion won? No way. You mean I let a 1.5 billion won pet die? Wait, calm down. It'll respawn anyway. But how is that thing worth 1.5 billion won? Is this for real or some kind of joke? The more he thought about it, the more his head felt like it was about to explode. And as if in answer, the host confirmed, "This is official information from Game Monster. We wish you the best of luck in acquiring a Gigantes Dark. If you happen to own a Gigantes Dark, please contact us at the email address below. Or use the search tool on Google. We will provide live streaming support for players who own a Gigantes Dark." As he spoke, a special offer appeared on the TV screen. For owners of this pet who partner with them, contract bonus of 10 million won. 1 million won for a minimum 6-hour broadcast session. A mandatory broadcast is required at least once a week. Back with Jack, his mind was going completely numb. Live streaming. Special offer. A 10 million won contract bonus. 1 million won per broadcast. 1 session a week. So that's 4 million won a month. And since I play all day, I could definitely earn way more than that. He snapped back to reality, and his attitude towards Dak did a complete 180. Is my life about to change? I can't believe it's actually a treasure. Even if I can't sell it, it's still pretty useful, huh? Time flew by, and as soon as the death penalty was over, Jack quickly logged back into the game. The place he reappeared was at the statue of some goddess. Heh. It's been a while since I've experienced dying and coming back to life. This must be the respawn area, Jack said as he looked around. In Legend World, there is a goddess named Sakina. Model. Sakina is the goddess of life. Legend says she guides the souls of the dead to the underworld, but any souls not taken are resurrected. That's why players in Legend World resurrect in front of this goddess's statue after they die. Surely no GM would be cruel enough to actually send a player's soul to the underworld, so they just let you resurrect like this. Ha 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 ha. Jack let out an amused laugh and began to summon Dak. Come on out. It's been tough on you. And when the little guy appeared, Jack couldn't resist picking it up to take a closer look. wondering if his eyes were playing tricks on him. This thing is worth 1.5 billion won. No matter how I look at it, I just don't see it. So strange. He sighed, leaving Dak completely confused. Meanwhile, the goddess statue, on the other hand, was getting a little annoyed. Stop standing around like an idiot. You've been revived, so get lost. Of course, that was just the statue's inner thought. Jack couldn't read her mind. Back with Jack, the memory that the demon god boss was still lurking somewhere on this map scared him to death. Ah, whatever. I'll deal with the broadcast stuff later. It's a long way home. I need to get out of here first. I really don't want to run into that thing again. As he spoke, Jack began to open his map to check it. He was looking for the safest route, but suddenly little Doc beside him seemed to notice something. It pulled on his pant leg to get his attention. "Huh, Dak, what's up? Is something wrong?" Without answering Jack's question, Doc took off running straight ahead, forcing Jack to hastily chase after it. "Hey, where are you going?" "To Talang's castle." Hey, and just like that, the master and his pet one, chasing one fleeing, ran all the way to a strange cave before stopping. "Why did you bring me here? What if we run into that demon god again?" Jack panted heavily as he spoke, then looked around puzzled. This cave didn't even show up on the map, so he had no idea whether he should go inside or not. But while he was still hesitating, Doc took matters into its own hands and ran straight inside. "Hey, what do you think you're doing now?" He yelled but couldn't stop Dak at this point. If it weren't for that announcer saying this little guy was worth 1.5 billion won, Jack would have definitely shoved him in his inventory by now. 1.5 billion? 1.5 billion? Calm down, stay calm. "I can't lose my patience," Jack muttered to himself over and over. After heading inside, he saw that the cave appeared to be artificial with perfectly square-cut stairs. And there was Doc waiting for him in front of a door. The moment Jack stood before the door, a system notification popped up. "New area discovered, Tomb of Lubras." Hearing that, Jack felt the name was somehow familiar. He began to search his memories. Tomb of Lubras, huh? Why does that sound so familiar? Lubras. That was the demon king who appeared in the game's mythology. In Legend World, Lubras started as a lowly creature from the demon realm. He trained himself to become the demon king, expanded his power into the human world, and became an immortal demon god. According to the myth, he overthrew the previous demon king, the Stone Demon King, by tearing off his horns and seizing the throne. However, a hero from the human world appeared and defeated him, sealing him away for eternity. And the horns of the Stone Demon King, the source of Lubras' power, were said to have been hidden somewhere in the human world. That's right. I think an NPC mentioned this before, but I never thought I'd find his tomb here. After speaking, Jack turned to look at Didak, guessing the little guy must also have the ability to detect ancient relics and treasures. Putting the mystery of Dak's hidden abilities aside, he then couldn't contain his curiosity and immediately entered the tomb. At the same time, in a certain room, a gorgeously dressed woman stretched wearily and glanced at the clock. It was already past closing time. "Manager Lee, have we made contact with the owner of Gigante's Dark yet?" she asked a male employee beside her. In response, the young man could only scratch his head sheepishly. "Ah, no. Still nothing. But we already announced the reward on the live broadcast. You don't think that person quit the game, do you?" the purple-haired woman asked. Seeing how anxious she was, the employee tried to reassure her. "The GMs confirmed that it's in someone's possession. They'll definitely get in touch after seeing the broadcast. We can't just keep waiting like this. What if another station steals it from us?" The woman shook her head as she spoke, causing the employee to just sigh and turn back to her. Of course, she knew that complaining wouldn't solve anything. "Well, I guess after work today I'll contact Legend World again tomorrow to ask for info on the player who has Gigantes. While I'm at it, I should contact the Guildmasters too. Yeah, that'll work. Well, then I'm heading out. See you tomorrow." She said her goodbyes, then sighed wearily again. Time to just go home and log into the game. I have to make the most of this time to grind. But man, I'm really addicted to this game. I'm always thinking about it. Or maybe I should just log in and find that player myself. The girl thought this as she clicked on her assassin character, Harren, and looked at the character icon. And it seems this was the very girl that Jack had met at the Alliance's administrative building. Back with Jack, after he opened the door and stepped inside, he came face to face with a giant horn. "It's on display on a stone pedestal inside the room, huh? Is that the horn of the Stone Demon King?" he exclaimed in amazement. The creature Dak next to him had already bolted towards it like a dog was chasing him. "Hey, be careful, don't run around all over the room," Jack said worriedly. And sure enough, just as his words became reality, little Dak accidentally stepped on a certain stone slab. It sank down simultaneously, activating a trap mechanism above. Following that, countless arrows, swinging blades, and burning oil began shooting out, aimed straight at the little guy. However, it was all blocked by Dak's shield skill. "You'll step on a trap if you're not careful." "Dak's not stupid," Jack yelled from behind, but by then Dak had already finished dealing with the trap. "Wow, he's even scouting for me." "He's a master scout, all right. But there could still be traps. I have to be careful with every step." As he spoke, Jack tiptoed forward, and only when there was no strange sound ringing out was he able to let out a full sigh of relief. Relieved, Jack was able to easily reach the horn just like that. This is just unbelievable. With this amount of mana and durability, it can be used to craft any type of weapon, whether it's for magic, ranged melee, tanking, or healing. This is an incredibly expensive high-grade material. I've never even seen anyone use equipment made from this stuff before, either in real life or in the game. "There's probably no trap right here, right?" "Nope, no traps," Jack said as he lifted the entire pedestal in his hands. And Dak next to him also chirped a few times, as if reminding him. "All right, put this in my inventory." "Want to get out of here already?" Jack said with a laugh as he tossed it into his inventory. However, a system message immediately popped up. "Cannot store in inventory. Exceeds allowed weight and size." "What you mean? I have to carry this heavy thing myself, all the way through the Darklands to get home. I'd rather deal with traps," he then shouted. Even though he knew it would be exhausting as hell, Jack still had to try and carry this horn. On the way back, huff, huff. He let out a few heavy breaths, then yelled when he saw Dak cheerfully singing up ahead. "How can you still be singing at a time like this?" As he said this, he couldn't take it anymore and flopped down onto the ground, fanning himself desperately. "That's it. I'm completely out of energy. I'm not doing this anymore," Jack complained, then became confused. The horn was clearly an item, so he couldn't understand why it couldn't be stored in his inventory. Turning towards Dak, it seemed the little guy wanted to test his strength, so he walked over and lifted the horn straight up into the air, making Jack's eyes pop out of his head. "What, you can lift it? I just can't believe it." But before Jack could get his hopes up, Dak was crushed by the horn's weight after taking just a few steps, shattering Jack's dream of getting a free ride. Shattered. Yeah, it really is heavy. I wonder if the demon godstone statues will appear again. The monsters could attack at any moment. I can't just keep walking like this. As he thought that, a rattling sound suddenly echoed from behind Jack, catching his attention. He turned to look, and following his gaze, at that moment, someone was pushing a cargo cart toward them. "Oh, it's a player, perfect timing. Hey friend, wait a second," he yelled, making the player pause for a moment. "Where are you headed, friend?" "I'm transporting goods from Zero to Talang to sell," the player replied, which made Jack's face light up. "That's perfect. This is... Can you let us load our things onto your cart?" "Things?" he asked, a bit confused. Jack immediately pointed to the horn on his back and explained, "This. Can you take it to the warehouse manager of Talang Castle? Please help us." Back to the guy in the hat, he took out a magnifying glass to appraise the item, and after seeing the information that came back, he couldn't hide the surprise on his face. "Whoa, is this the horn of a stone demon king?" "That's right. After you load it up, don't log out, or just help me out a little," Jack said awkwardly. The guy heard him and grumbled a bit. "If you're so worried, you shouldn't have asked in the first place. I'll pay you in gold, all right?" Jack quickly offered, but this guy didn't need his few silver coins. "Nah, forget it. I'm already max level. I'm just killing time as a traveling merchant, so I don't need gold. Hurry up and load your stuff." "Thanks, man," he said with a smile, quickly tossing his horn onto the cart. Meanwhile, the guy with the glasses noticed Dak nearby and was shocked for a second time. "Hey, is that pet a Gigantes, Dak?" "Ah, yeah. That's right." Jack nodded, which made the guy immediately run over to the little guy for a closer look. "Oh my god. This is the first time I've seen one in real life. I want one too, but they're not tradable, are they?" As he spoke, he started rubbing his cheek against Dak, making the little guy extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, it's a bound pet," Jack said, but inwardly his thoughts were completely different. Damn it, I almost got robbed. Even a max-level player wants him. However, contrary to Jack's petty thoughts, the kind-hearted guy over here started rummaging through his pile of items to find a gift for the little guy. "He's so cute. I have to give him a present. Here, take this. This black round shield will suit you well." As he spoke, he tossed a shield to Dak and added, "Its physical and magic defense are way better than your old one." "Awesome, I'm so jealous, spoken like a true max-level player," the big guy said with a voice full of admiration. After calming down a bit, they officially set off. Anyway, let's get going. I know a route with no monsters. Just follow the cart and don't stray away. And so, by hitching a ride with a max-level pro, Jack and his companion were able to safely reach the city. "Thank you so much," he said sincerely, but the guy just waved it off. "It's nothing. Helping new players is the duty of veteran players like me." "New player? I'm almost level 140. And I'm still being called a new player," Jack wondered to himself. Meanwhile, the merchant smiled and said goodbye to them. "I'm off. You be a good boy, Dak. You be a good..." And next, after the merchant had left, Jack quickly looked for a shop of some kind to temporarily store the horn. "You want to store something?" "Ah, yes, I'd like to store this," Jack said, lifting up the horn. But when the old dwarf saw it, he refused immediately. "Oh heavens, we can't keep this thing. It contains too much magical energy. If we put it in the warehouse, it'll affect other customers' items." Hearing this, Jack's face twisted. But he still tried to ask the old man for help because he really couldn't just wander around the streets carrying this rare item. "If people see it, I'll definitely get robbed instantly. Please help me. No can do, no can do. I can't let your item damage the belongings of my other customers." The old dwarf adamantly refused, forcing Jack to use his trump card, Crocodile Tears. "Please, sir, I don't know what else to do with it. That's your problem. You're a grown man, so why can't you understand plain English? If you keep insisting, I'm calling the guards," he said in a threatening tone, pointing to some guards standing nearby. As for the guards, they had rugged faces and looked like gangsters. It felt like if the old man just shouted once, they would rush in and beat Jack to a pulp. With no other choice, our protagonist had to temporarily give up on his plan of storing the item at this shop. "What a pain. I can't just throw away a high-grade material like this," he whispered, not realizing that other players had already recognized Dak, who was walking beside him. "Hey, the beast next to that player, is that a Gigantes, Dak? Seriously? I think it really is. That thing is worth 1.5 billion? Murmurs echoed all around. As for Rack, after thinking it over, he decided to take it to Pan's place. He had to bring it to Pan to get it crafted. "I have to get some equipment made right away. That's the best solution." With that in mind, he quickly made his way to the muscular old man's smithy, and upon seeing this item, even the old man himself was astonished. "Where in the world did you get this? Something this rare, and you're just carrying it around everywhere?" "Well, it doesn't fit in my inventory, and I can't put it in storage either. I had no other choice. Luckily, a kind max-level player brought me here," he explained wearily. The old man, however, offered his own take on it. "That person wasn't being kind. It's just that this thing is useless to them." "Huh. What do you mean?" he asked, confused, and the old man proceeded to enlighten this clueless newbie. "This thing is so hard it could break any blacksmith's hands. To put it bluntly, it's useless to them. No one wants to bring that kind of trouble on themselves, so they don't even bother with it. But you're in the same boat. How about you sell it to me for 1 million gold? The muscular old man offered, causing the young lad's eyes to turn into 2 gold coins. By the way, 1 million gold in the game is equivalent to 100 million won in real life. While Jack was still stunned by this price, the old man continued to persuade him. "Only I would pay such a high price for it, you know. Take it somewhere else and you might not even get 100,000 gold for it. So what do you say?" Back to Jack. With the experience of a veteran player, he was still sharp. He wasn't blinded by the money. "Let's see. If you're offering 1 million gold to buy it, that means its value is even higher than that, isn't it? Haha, you may look foolish, but you're quite the sly one." The old man laughed. Jack started to press for the real number. "Tell me the truth, what is it really worth?" After saying that, he even considered hiking the price up to 3 million gold on this rich old man. But the old man was no fool. "You don't seem to know what a difficult material the horn of the Stone Demon King is." "Stop bluffing," he said angrily. "Well, then I'll just go find another blacksmith," Jack said nonchalantly, which made the old man start to tear up. "How about this? I'll craft the equipment for you, and you pay me for the labor." Hearing him say that, it seems Jack felt a bit more satisfied. He sighed and asked, "How much is the labor fee?" In response to his question, the old man held up 5 fingers, giving Jack a bit of a delusion. 500 gold, I can probably afford that." But the old man shook his head and continued to hold up 5 fingers, forcing Jack to revise the price. 50,000 gold, that's a bit steep, isn't it? However, it seemed that price still wasn't the real number. The old man shook his head again, and Jack had to shout, 500,000 gold. "What the hell are you talking about? Not 500,000, it's 5 million gold, got it," he bellowed, making Jack's eyes roll back in his head. What? No need to be so shocked. That's the minimum price. So can you pay it? He said with a smile, continuing to persuade him. What are you still thinking about? It's not like you know what to do with it anyway. Or I could sell it on the auction house, Jack suggested. However, the old man said that would incur an additional 10% transaction fee. I accept, Jack said with a sly grin. But the old man also pointed out a flaw. This thing can't be put in storage, so you can only trade it directly. What if you run into a scammer? Then I'll just trade it next to the guards. Why make things so complicated? Just sell it to me for 1 million gold and be done with it, Pan said with a sigh. Because I can see you're lowballing me. Hey, how dare you look down on me? I am the most reputable and skilled blacksmith in Talang. Just trust me with it. I'll take care of everything. The old man puffed out his chest with a grand assurance, but Jack didn't believe a word of it. So just to be sure, he went to the auction house to check. And just as he thought, the price was vastly different from the 1 million gold Pans had offered. The price for the Horn of the Stone. Demon King hadn't been officially announced, but it seemed to have been traded on the market for 4.89 million gold. All right, then. In that case, I'll sell it for 4 million gold, he said, turning to the old man with a bright smile. This made the old man practically breathe fire. Are you kidding me? Fine, I'll concede a step. 1.5 million? Nope. 3.99 million gold. 2 million. 3.98 million gold. And so the two of them started haggling. Finally, the muscular old man couldn't contain his anger and gave up. Fine, all right. I won't take the Horn of the Stone Demon King anymore. You can sell it to whoever you want. I don't care. All right, then I'll go sell it somewhere else, Jack said with a smile, and immediately turned to leave, forcing the old man to hurriedly stop him while flashing a bright smile. Hey now, young man, why are you so hot-headed, model? I was just kidding. 2 million gold isn't bad. I know you're a dark gamer who needs money to get by, but blah, blah. Long story short, the old man started rambling. Meanwhile, at that moment, Jack also started weighing his options. Last year, a Stone Demon King's horn sold for nearly 5 million gold on the exchange, so the crafting fee should be around that much. But after adding in profit and all that, he'd probably make a few million. Look at him. Being this stubborn, this must be a great deal for him. All right, then. But this is a chance to change my life. With that thought, Jack decided to keep the horn for himself and made his request. All right, then, craft the equipment for me. I'll pay the fee. Across from him, Vans listened, then looked at him with suspicion and asked, You don't look like someone who has enough money. This brutally practical question hit Jack like a ton of bricks. But brushing that aside, anyway, 5 million gold is enough to craft equipment from the Stone Demon King's horn, right? Jack asked again. After stroking his chin for a moment, the old man nodded. It's enough. But that's just for the materials. With labor and miscellaneous fees, it'll cost you 7 to 8 million gold. That's fine, then. For all your trouble, I'll pay 7 million gold, but I have one condition. A condition? The old man asked, puzzled. Since when do I take conditions from the people I'm crafting for? First off, I don't have enough money, so I'll pay in installments, Jack said with a bright smile. At the same time, he pulled out a stack of his debit cards. The muscular old man, on the other hand, had never had anyone come to his shop for crafting and try to pay in installments. It seemed Jack knew this, so he tried his best to persuade him. You'll still get your 7 million gold after all. I'll just pay you gradually until it's paid off. Wait, hold on. I've never done business like this before. It's simple. You craft the equipment from the Stone Demon King's horn, and I pay you until the 7 million is paid off, Jack explained concisely. After hearing this, the old man had to nod along. That sounds plausible. Please, I'm just a player. It's pointless for me to try and run away, he reminded him, helping the old man make up his mind. All right then, I agree. Excellent. Then we have a deal. Oh, and I have one more condition, he continued, pulling out yet another condition to the old man's endless annoyance. What is it now? Well, to pay off the debt faster, I need to grind more. And to grind more effectively, I need stronger equipment. But this stuff I have is too weak. You've really got an answer for everything, don't you? How annoying, Vans complained. Meanwhile, Jack had already spotted his target. He pointed to the great sword next to him. Lend me that. Are you trying to squeeze me dry? The old man shouted, but he also knew that this was the fastest way for Jack to pay him back, so he had no choice but to accept this condition. All right, the stronger you are, the faster you'll pay off your debt. I'll lend it to you. Wait a moment. Then Vans quickly took out a piece of paper and explained, This is a contract. Sign here. Each month the money will be automatically transferred to my account. The payment will be automatic. No need for complications. Contract. 1 Vans Guildmaster of the Blacksmiths Association agrees to craft equipment from the Stone Demon King's horn for the player Jack. 2 From this moment on, Vans Guildmaster of the Blacksmiths Association will be responsible for safeguarding the Stone Demon King's horn until the equipment is completed and delivered to Jack. If it is lost, he must compensate the player Jack for 7 million gold. 3 Vans has ownership rights to the equipment crafted from the Stone Demon King's horn, equivalent to a value of 7 million gold. 4. To regain ownership, the player Jack must pay Vans 7 million gold. 5. There is no payment deadline and the contract cannot be unilaterally cancelled. 6. The player Jack must pay 30% of his total monthly income to Vans. Capital 10. The payment in Article 6 will apply until ownership of the equipment crafted from the Stone Demon King's horn is transferred to the player Jack. 8. During the contract period, the player Jack will receive a 20% discount when using the services of blacksmith shops belonging to the Blacksmiths Association. 9. During the contract period, the player Jack may borrow weapons from Vans. 10. If the contract is breached, the Talon Administrative Court will assess the severity of the violation and issue an appropriate penalty. Those were the 10 clauses in the contract, and after reading it, Jack had to admit that the older the ginger, the spicier it gets. Because it involved high-level equipment, this contract was basically a slave contract. He really wanted to lock this down. Sign it, since you've already decided. What are you waiting for? Vans urged, and just as he said, once Jack made up his mind, he didn't overthink it. Yes, all right, it should be fine. I've signed it. And as soon as Jack signed the contract, the system displayed a confirmation screen. Notification. Automatic transfer mode has been established. 30% of your total monthly gold income will be transferred to Pan's head of the Blacksmiths Guild. That was fast, Zack muttered as the old man handed him the item. A new sword. Take this and keep up the good work. This is the semi-immortal greatsword, the blade fabled to be the mount of the legendary sword Immortal. It radiates a mysterious aura, and even though it was forged long ago, it still retains its extraordinary power. Semi-immortal greatsword. Classification greatsword. Grade unique. Attack power, 2,130. Durability, 15,000. Effect all stats, plus 100. Attack speed, plus 10%. Health regeneration, plus 100%. Additional 50% damage when attacking the undead. Can use the flying sword skill once per day. Equipment restriction. Cannot be used by magic-based classes. Back with Pans while Jack was still stunned by the sword's stats, the old man pointed at the horn and said, "Now hand over the Stone Demon King's horn." "Wait a minute. That thing, is that a Gigante's Dark?" he stammered upon seeing Dark. "You're just noticing now." "You were too engrossed in the quest," Zack said. But the old man paid him no mind, immediately rushing over to hug the little guy tightly. "I just have to give it a hug." After the hug, he turned to Zack with a curious gaze. "The Stone Demon King's horn and a Gigante's Dark. Just who are you?" "I just got lucky, that's all," Zack explained awkwardly, but the old man didn't see it that way. "It's not just luck. This is all destiny. The Gigantes is a creature of good fortune. Anyway, help me move this. My smithy has been getting a lot of thieves lately. It's best we work at my house. Just the day before yesterday. Bustle. An assassin tried to break in, but they were caught. I came to the smithy today to collect compensation," he said quickly, packing his things. However, before they could leave, someone opened the door and walked in. "Excuse me, is the owner here?" "It's me, the one who came. I was here the other day to comp." Speaking of which, the woman paused for a moment when she saw Zack, then asked, "Huh, you're the woman I met at the pass," Zack asked. Pans started giving him a suspicious look. "Do you two know each other? Or are you a pair of con artists?" "You're the con artist," Zack yelled. "Heron, you're not planning to steal from here, are you? If you get caught, you'll be stripped of your Destroyer of the Insurgents title." Pans spoke. The girl named Heron removed her hood and explained, "That's precisely why I'm here, to compensate for the damages. Can you even afford to?" the old man said doubtfully. "If you need someone killed, I can help," the woman offered, as if to pay her debt that way. Meanwhile, Jack felt this was no longer his business, so he decided to say his goodbyes. "Sir, since our agreement is settled, I'll be going now. Take this and go wait outside," he said. After Jack went outside, Heron turned and asked, "So how would you like me to compensate you?" As she spoke, she glanced over and spotted Dak running after Zack. "A Gigante's Dark!" she shouted. "Why do I have such a bad feeling about this?" Zack thought to himself. Scene change to a lovely little house. This was the home of the old blacksmith Pans. Looking at the peaceful scenery before him, Jack couldn't help but exclaim, "What a beautiful view. It's like a vacation home." Beside them, the little Doc in Haran's arms chirped with delight. "I've spent my whole life on the battlefield. Now that my only pleasure is forging what's wrong with enjoying myself a little," Old Man Pans replied. However, Jack immediately retorted, "You say that, but you were really craving that Stone Demon King's horn." At this point, he glanced suspiciously at Haran. "But why is she following us anyway?" In response to this question, the old man answered, "She said she'd do anything to pay off her debt, so I told her to assist you until it's cleared. She already agreed." "Got it." "Why didn't you ask me first?" Zack complained, but the greedy old man didn't care. "I just need to get paid, understand?" "Less talk. Bring that horn in here." "Yes, yes," Zack replied wearily. It was only then that he realized slave contracts actually existed. Then, after stepping inside the house, the guy's eyes lit up again. "Whoa, even an NPC's house is designed with this much detail. This game is seriously amazing." Without letting Jack look around for long Old Man Pans, immediately tossed him a piece of paper and instructed, "Now bring this to me." Hearing him say that, model, Jack quickly grabbed the piece of paper, and at that very moment, the system's notification screen appeared, sent to Sun, the leader of the Sledgehammer Merchant Guild, containing the soul of a dwarf, a blacksmith's apron, and an angel's silver wrath. Reading up to this point, Jack's eyes filled with confusion as he asked, "Huh? What is all this?" Hearing the question, the Old Man Pans waved his hand and explained, "Just as their name suggests, these are Demon King items. To control them, we need the power of the celestial realm and the sincerity of the human realm. If you stubbornly and recklessly craft equipment with them, the user will be possessed by it. That's why it's so expensive and time-consuming. Go see the Sun Merchant Guild. They'll provide all the necessary materials, for a price, of course," the old man added. Meanwhile, our protagonist was vaguely starting to realize who this merchant guild was. It was a total headache. "The Sun Merchant Guild. I think I've heard of them. They're the largest merchant guild on the continent, right? How the hell am I supposed to meet the guild master?" he yelled. And at that moment, reluctantly, the Old Man Pans had to puff out his chest and say proudly, "I am the president of the Blacksmiths Association. If you mention my name, you'll surely get to meet them. The problem is, how to meet someone to whom you can mention my name?" Pans let out an awkward laugh, making Jack's eyes roll back into his head. "Does this guy even want my money or not?" he thought to himself. Scene change from the Talon Castle. Jack was still racking his brain, not knowing what to do. To find the Sun Merchant Guild, and it seemed like he couldn't come up with any solutions. So he casually turned around and asked the girl behind him, "Do you know where the Sun Merchant Guild is?" Behind him, Haran heard his question and shook her head in response. "No, I only know the guildmaster's name is Sun." It's like knowing that the Big Zone World's Food Alley show is a show that features Big Zone World. Jack made such a lame joke that Haran didn't even bother to look at him. "How boring. You're definitely a hikikomori, no friends, no girlfriend." "What did you say?" Jack yelled, his nerve having been struck. However, before he could lash out, a sound suddenly rang out from up ahead. "Robbers!" Hearing the shout, everyone in the street turned towards the source of the sound and witnessed two robbers carrying two bags that were bulging as they began leaping between buildings. Meanwhile, the guards could only chase helplessly from behind, and the victim was none other than the merchant Money who had given Jack a ride before. What was even more baffling was why a max-level player like him was getting outsmarted by some petty robbers. Back to the story, Jack saw his benefactor sitting there all dazed and alone, so he quickly squeezed through the crowd. "Excuse me, sorry, let me through," he said with a smile to the people nearby, and as soon as he got through the crowd, he patted Money on the shoulder and asked, "Money, what's going on?" Hearing the familiar voice, the merchant turned and looked over in surprise. "Oh, it's you, Jack. I was on a transport quest but got attacked by NPC robbers and they stole my goods." Hearing this, a look of confusion appeared on Jack's face. "NPC robbers? You're max level, and you still get bullied by NPC robbers." Hearing his question, Money said bitterly, "Even though I'm max level, my experience mainly comes from trading. Besides, you can't use skills while you're pulling a cart. Then the goods must be really valuable," Jack speculated, seeing that the robbers were bold enough to target a max level player. "That's right. It's cargo from the Sun Merchant Guild," the merchant replied. The moment he heard the words, Sun Merchant Guild, Jack's eyes lit up like car headlights, because the quest Pans had given him was related to this very guild. He was just wondering how to get in touch with them. and now he'd found a lead.
A lead? The Sun Merchant Guild, Jack asked again, just to make sure his ears weren't deceiving him, and Money nodded, confirming it once more.
That's right. It was a quest to transport treasures from the Zeke and Taylor village to the guild, but now the goods have been stolen.
I guess the quest is a failure.
At this point, I don't know how valuable these goods were, but the merchant actually started to cry. And with his principle of never doing anything that isn't profitable, Jack immediately stepped up and offered to help.
So if I get those goods back,
can you introduce me to the Sun Merchant Guild? He said with a bright smile, causing the merchant to stop crying.
Jack,
well, that's easy enough, but why?
Well, I need to meet the master of the Sun Merchant Guild, but I don't know where they are. Besides, you helped me before.
Jack explained while the little guy Dak at his side saw that his master had something to do. Then just jump in and shout a few enthusiastic words.
All right then, just leave it to me,
Jack declared, which made Money feel somewhat relieved.
It would be great if you could help.
After that, he began to explain in more detail to Jack.
They're the Chaitika bandit gang from the desert. Their hideout is in Pierce Gen.
It's a desert region west of Talang Castle. I heard they supply materials to the Thought Rebels. Their levels are around 150 to 160.
It's going to be very difficult for you, he said worriedly.
However, with levels like these, Jack was still confident he could handle it. No problem. A man's got to be adventurous.
How naive, the merchant thought to himself, then took out a map and continued, "Read this. It marks the location of the Chaitika hideout on the map. Just go there and eliminate them."
Yes, I understand, Jack replied, taking the map from Money's hand.
Afterwards, once he had the map information about the bandits was sent over for him to review.
Let's see now. Chaitika's hideout average level 160 to 170. Mages, sorcerers, undead. From physical attacks to magic attacks. Quite a variety, huh? Reading this, Jack's expression grew a little weary. However, since this was a rare opportunity to get in with the Sun Merchant Guild, he had to do it whether he liked it or not. Well, then I'm off. It's been a while since I got to blow off some steam, he said cheerfully to little Dak beside him. Meanwhile, Harren, standing behind them, began to stare intently at them as if deep in thought. Scene changed to Pierce Gen, the desolate desert west of Talang. Jack's group of 3 was now dragging themselves across the desert in search of the bandits' den. And the unfortunate thing was they had just stepped into this area. It wasn't long before they got a face full of sand. Damn it. This sandstorm is insane. If I had known, I would have gone online and found a way to rent a camel. As Jack spoke, he shielded his eyes to keep the sand out. Beside him, Harren complained, "What's the use of saying that now?" "Well, what are we supposed to do then?" Jack shot back. She immediately offered a solution. The right way would have been to hire someone who knows the desert and take a horse-drawn carriage. Are you made of money or something? "How much gold do you think a carriage costs?" the broke-ass loser yelled, which made Harren despise him even more. A shut-in with no friends and no girlfriend. And a total cheapskate. Harren's taunt made Jack fume. "Hey, cut it out, will you?" Just then, little Dak below them noticed something. It let out a few chirps to alert them, getting both of their attention. "Huh, is this it? Chaitika's hideout." They both exclaimed in surprise. After that, the female assassin quietly moved to the edge of the cliff to observe. "There are more of them than I thought." "It's fine, we just need to use our heads a little. Our goal isn't to wipe them out, but to get the goods back," Jack replied. At that same moment at Harren's house, while she was still engrossed in observing the enemy's lair, her phone alarm suddenly rang, forcing her to pause the game and answer it. "Hello? Director, aren't you planning on coming to work?" The person on the other end of the line's reminder snapped Harren back to reality. "Is it that late already?" As she spoke, she glanced at her surroundings as sunlight filled the room. "You have an interview scheduled today with the number 5 ranked player in Legend World, whose nickname is Ferrarius." Hearing her subordinate's complaint, Harren happily bragged, "I'm inside Legend World right now. I've found Gigante's Dark and its master." And just as she predicted right after that, her subordinate exclaimed in shock, "What, for real? Where are you?" he asked hurriedly. However, Harren had no intention of revealing this information. What if other reporters or players swarm the place? So just wait. Don't come rushing over. Anyway, I've been recording everything since I met Gigante's Dark and its master, so don't you worry. His in-game nickname is Jack. Look up that character's information for me, will you? In that case, I'll cancel the interview with Ferrarius. This is way hotter news, he agreed. At that same moment, Jack, unaware that Harren was talking to her subordinate, was still explaining the plan. First, Harren will sneak inside to find the goods. As he said this,
He noticed the assassin's blank expression, so he walked up and waved a hand in front of her face to check. Harin, did you disconnect? What, she really disconnected? At a time like this, he grumbled, seeing his teammate flake out at a crucial moment. However, Harin quickly returned. Sorry, I had a phone call. Her sudden voice made Jack jump back. Geez, you scared me, he yelled. Meanwhile, the assassin asked again, so what's the plan? Can you tell me the details? And so Jack took out a stick and laid out the plan once again. First, Harin will sneak inside to find the location of the goods. Then you'll mark that position on the mini-map. And I'll create an opening for you from over here. Harin nodded upon hearing this, seemingly not objecting. Seeing her reaction, Jack continued, when I start creating the opening, you'll find the horse carriage inside the hideout. Chaitika after that will quickly load the goods onto the cart and get out of here immediately. What do you think? My plan is good, right? He said with a grin, proud of his grand plan. And the assessment this assassin girl gave was that it was simple and easy to understand, but I think it's fine. Are you complimenting me or criticizing me? Jack asked, puzzled. However, Harin didn't intend to waste any more words and prepared to act. When I find the goods, I'll mark the location immediately. You have to get there right away. Got it. Remember to be careful, Jack replied. But before he could say more, Harin had already jumped down below. Her decisive action without a single wasted movement made the main character a little curious. I'm really curious. I wonder what she's like in real life. Right, Dak. Coo. The little guy chirped a few times as if agreeing. It's not like you know anything about the real world. Seeing it nod its head furiously, Jack dropped the subject. Next, he also watched Harin intently as she moved silently below, muttering, this is the first time I've ever seen an assassin act so stealthily. I wonder if she can pull it off. And as if to answer Jack's question right at that moment, at an incredible speed, Harin circled around behind these two bandits, without making a single sound. Next, she quickly took out two throwing daggers and hurled them straight at both bandits, finishing them off in an instant. A combination of sniping and a fatal assassination. A one-shot kill. Jack marveled inwardly, seeing her swift and clean actions, and to prevent the other bandits from discovering them, Harin, like a seasoned pro, quickly hid the bandits' bodies. However, the rustling sound from dragging them caught the attention of a few of them. Who's there? Show yourself, they yelled. However, there was no one in front of the bushes, making the bandit doubt his own eyes. Was I seeing things? Did you see something? The one next to him asked. And while they were still focused on the bushes, Harin took the opportunity to run straight inside. Just like that, after sneaking around for a while, Harin found the location where the bandits had hidden Money's goods. This must be the place, Harin thought to herself, and then, it's unknown what skill she used, but she was able to climb like a gecko on the ceiling of the cave while the bandits below didn't notice her. Without existence at all. They were still shouting at each other, pile that stuff in here. Why are you so slow? Paying them no mind, the female assassin continued to move silently above, until she finally reached her target. Here it is, Chaitika's treasure. All right, this is it. Before Harin's eyes was a trove of gold coins and countless other jewels. At the same time, Jack, who was outside, also spotted the red dot on the map that Harin had marked. She marked it. Let's go, Dak. Their levels are higher than ours. Instead of taking them out one by one, it's best to stun or knock them out and then quickly head inside. Got it, Dak? As he spoke, he turned to look at his little sidekick, however. The words he just said were spoken to thin air because somehow little Dak had vanished. Oh, God! Dak, where did you go? Jack yelled, until he heard the sound of Dak down below. The clueless little guy hadn't bothered to listen to his master's plan and had jumped straight down to go all out against the bandits. And of course, with the commotion the little guy was making, he immediately attracted the attention of the guards. Who's that? As they spoke, the two of them drew their swords on high alert. I'll just let Dak draw their attention like always, and I'll attack from behind, Jack thought to himself, increasing his speed. However, before Jack even had a chance to make a move, the little guy, Dak, had already executed a charge, rushing forward like an arrow and slamming straight into the two bandits. It sent them flying in opposite directions, while the little guy's master, Jack, could only stare wide-eyed, not understanding why. How did my sidekick suddenly get so strong? But before Jack could figure out why, the bandits who had been sent flying started to get back up as if nothing had happened. What the? That startled me. Is that him? Sounds began to ring out. After checking their health, Jack saw that all three of them still had full health bars without a single drop lost. This scene feels familiar, Jack thought. At the same time, the bandits began to charge in to give little Dak a beating, but at least thanks to the little guy's efforts. Jack had an opportunity to launch a critical strike from behind. Just like that, the sounds of the battle outside echoed deep inside, attracting the attention of these soldiers. "Intruder at the entrance! Emergency! Emergency!" They shouted to each other and immediately rushed out as reinforcements. And this was the perfect opportunity for Heron to load the goods onto the cart. "The goods are stored here. The horse cart must be somewhere nearby," Heron silently deduced. But before she could find it, another group of bandits blocked her path, causing even her ice-cold expression to break into a sweat. Model. Damn it, have I been spotted? Back to Jack and his new sword, he was tearing through the bandits unstoppable. With a skill called Tempest, Jack was able to blow them all away. However, even after taking such a beating, not a single one of them has gone down. High-level mobs are something else. They haven't lost a sliver of health, Jack exclaimed. Just then, that idiot Dak started charging forward again without paying any attention to his surroundings, making everyone's eyes pop. "Ugh again," Jack said, fed up. Meanwhile, the moment the kid flew into the middle of the enemy formation, he immediately used his shield skill to knock them all away, and that's when Jack shouted and started to charge forward, back to Heron. After the bandits spotted her, the whole mob rushed in to attack, without a moment's hesitation. Knowing her class wasn't suited for group fights, Heron quickly pulled a grenade from her inventory. She threw it hard onto the ground, creating a thick cloud of smoke that obscured the bandits' vision. Taking advantage of the opportunity, while they were still fumbling around in the smoke, Heron silently approached them one by one and took them out with incredible speed and efficiency. Back to Jack with Dak's help, he succeeded in breaking through the enemy team's defense line. Looking at the mini-map, around this corner is the treasure. It's right here, he shouted joyfully upon seeing the pile of items. However, he didn't see the carriage or Heron anywhere. And before Jack had much time to think, the ground began to shake rhythmically like someone's footsteps. The cause of this was none other than a guy as big as a pig with a spiked mace on his shoulder. "What the?" Jack yelled, staring at the guy's enormous body. At the same time, as soon as the huge guy spotted him, he charged straight in to attack. Just like that, the giant mace in his hand swung right at Jack. And even though he managed to raise his arm in time to block, his body was still sent flying backward like a cannonball, scattering the treasure chests behind him all over the place. And by chance, Jack also discovered the corpses of a few bandits that Heron had stuffed inside. "Whoa, what the heck is this now?" he cried out in astonishment while the bandit in front of him started spouting some familiar lines. "Who dares to lay eyes on our treasure?" Hearing this, Jack, who was in front, quickly waved his hands in denial. "It wasn't me. I have no intention of stealing the treasure." As he spoke, he also thought to himself, "I haven't even beaten a regular Chidaka monster yet, and now I've run into a boss, I'm dead for sure." Jack was hoping to negotiate a truce, however things never go according to his plan, because just then, that fearless, clueless kid, Dak, charged forward and rammed right into the big guy's leg, making him angry enough to kick the kid away, sending him smashing into the ceiling. Then he fell back down. Hey, are you okay?" "That looked painful," Jack said worriedly. But right after that, the kid stood up as if nothing had happened. In fact, a flash of anger appeared in Dak's eyes. "You insolent brat!" the bandit roared furiously. As for our hero Jack, seeing this, he had to give his little bro a thumbs up. "Gotta admit, Dak is great at drawing aggro. Now's my chance to slip away. But I'm curious to see what effect Dak's new skill has on him." This nosy thought kept Jack in place. Meanwhile, the big guy didn't want to waste any more time, so he immediately hoisted his giant mace and smashed it right into the shield that Dak had created. You'd think that flimsy-looking shield would shatter from the earth-shattering attack, but no, the shield didn't move an inch. It even reflected a blast of light that sent the big guy flying back several feet. "Wait a minute, what was that?" Jack said as he quickly pulled down his goggles to get a better look. And just as he predicted, even though the big guy was blown away, his health hadn't dropped by a single point. "Just as I thought. It doesn't do any damage at all," he said, disappointed. Meanwhile, the big guy, seeing he was sent flying by such a tiny opponent, started to fly into a rage. "I'll send you to your ancestors. Take this and this and this." Each sound was another swing of the mace, but no matter how hard he tried, he still couldn't get through Dak's shield. On the other side, Jack had no intention of just sitting back and watching anymore. "Gotta admit, it's great at drawing aggro. You're the one who's going down," he shouted, aiming to land a blow right on the back of the guy's neck, and to get a critical hit. However, if you're going to sneak attack, you should do it silently. What the hell was he shouting for? Before his attack could even reach the big guy, he had already turned around and discovered Jack's intention. Just then, a carriage suddenly sped past in front of Jack. Move it! Along the way, Harren, who was driving, also used the carriage to ram the big guy aside. Jack took this opportunity to quickly load the goods onto the carriage to get ready to bolt. "What are you doing not attacking?" "What?" She cried out confused because she knew perfectly well that a normal ram from the carriage like that wouldn't be enough to take down that big guy. However, that greedy guy Zack was still more focused on the goods. He had to get the Sun Merchant Guild's merchandise back first. He started to explain, but behind him the fat bandit had regained his balance and was glaring at them with murderous eyes. "You bastards! I won't let you get away with this!" Hearing his threatening voice, little Dak hurriedly chirped a warning to his master, but all that came out of his mouth was "Cuckoo." So Jack didn't understand a thing, and even thought the little guy was bothering him. "Hey, Dak, stop messing around. Don't be a crybaby." Back to Harren with her assassin instincts. She immediately sensed the danger from behind her and instantly turned to shout a warning, "Danger!" Hearing her, Jack finally paid attention. But by the time he turned his head to look, the fat guy had already slammed the great mace in his hand right into his back, causing our hero's eyes to roll into his head. Serves the idiot right. Instead of finishing off the enemy, he just wanted to carry stuff, and with just that one hit, it instantly wiped out half of the main character's health. What the how did I lose so much health from just one hit? He's definitely no pushover. As Jack spoke, he struggled to look ahead. Unlike Jack, the fat guy immediately drew his hammer back, having no intention of dragging this out. "I will not forgive you." After he spoke, he stared straight at Jack as if he wanted to eat him alive. And then, seeing his master in danger, little Dak immediately rushed in to help, saving Jack from being smashed into a meat patty by the fat guy's weapon. "You damn bastards!" he yelled as he saw his mace get knocked back after hitting the shield. "Don't believe me, huh?" The guy started swinging the mace to strike again, but the recoil was so strong it sent his entire body flying backward, though he didn't take any damage. It was just the same thing over and over. The fat guy kept charging in to attack only to be thrown back, which gave Jack, who was watching from the side, a bit of a headache. Am I watching this in slow motion? He must be really pissed off, haha. Back to Harren. Seeing Jack just standing there like a statue, she immediately snapped at him. "You idiot, what are you standing there gawking for? Hurry up and get on the cart." "All right." Jack quickly replied, swiftly loading all the remaining goods onto the cart. After he was done, and our hero held out his hand and yelled, "Dak, quick!" Hearing the call, the little guy immediately knocked the fat guy far away and quickly grabbed the arm of Jack, letting him pull him up. "Let's go." Seeing that everyone was on the cart, Harren started cracking the whip, making the horse-drawn carriage bolt forward like crazy. However, getting on the carriage didn't mean everyone was safe. The fat guy behind them had already taken out some kind of horn. "You bastards think you can escape." Finishing his sentence, he blew hard into the horn as if to call for reinforcements. "What's that sound?" Jack asked with incredible stupidity, which really annoyed his teammate. At a time like this, what else could it be? He's obviously calling for reinforcements. "You're so stupid," seeing that she was right. Jack turned to her with a complaining look. "I think you just called me stupid. Seriously, why are you always picking on me?" "Is this really the time to be worrying about that?" Harren screamed. After that, she didn't even bother talking to this idiot anymore and turned to focus on driving the carriage. And just like that, while escaping from the cave, their cart sent countless bandits flying out of their way. It wasn't long before the group successfully escaped the cave, and our hero Jack, seeing this, was overjoyed. "Great. At this rate, we can head straight to Ta Long Castle," he said cheerfully. But his joy didn't even last a few seconds before the bandits behind them were already chasing them on horseback. "What are you all standing around for? Get them!" This stinking fat pig shouted at his underlings, and then the whole mob charged forward as if they were being chased by a dog. As for Jack's group, hearing the commotion behind them, they both turned around and shouted in shock, "They're right on our tail! Well, do something! I'm not a tank or a healer." "How am I supposed to take on all of them?" Jack replied while checking the cargo chests to see if there was anything useful in this situation. And it seemed luck was on their side. Inside a cargo chest, Jack discovered a whole stash of explosives. "Whoa, they have these on the cart. They probably have explosives because they live in a cave," Harren explained. However, they had the items, but now there was no way to light them. "How do I light this?" he said while staring at the explosive in his hand.
And before Jack could think of a way, little Dak, who was next to him, reached out and touched it. Right after that, who knows how the little guy did it, but the fuse was lit. Then, with Dak's help, Jack began to launch a continuous barrage of explosives behind them, sending the bandits flying like birds. "Whoa, that's stronger than I thought," Jack commented. Meanwhile, the remaining bandits who weren't caught in the explosion continued their relentless pursuit. "Don't stop, keep chasing them," a bandit yelled angrily. Seeing this, our main character didn't stop throwing explosives either. Continuously behind them, at the same time, Talon Castle has appeared right in front of them. Hang in there, we're almost at Talon Castle. And just like that, hindered by the explosives, the bandits ultimately failed. They were stopped just before the two of them could run straight through the city gates. "The hero who defeated the rebels has returned. You have such a humble appearance, sir," the gate guards said cheerfully. This gave Jack a bit of a delusion. It seems his fame has increased thanks to the rebel quest, so even the NPC guards' dialogue has changed. Turning back to the bandits, even though they were acting all tough and intimidating, they didn't dare attack the city. "Stop, halt the pursuit!" the portly leader shouted. He then shot an icy glare at the two of them, Jack and Harren. "It seems that guy's ID is Jack, and the one driving the carriage is Harren. You little brats aren't even level 150, yet you have the gall to attack our hideout. I'm not going to let you get away with this." The guy left them with a few empty threats and quickly led his cronies away, before the city guards could turn around and wipe them out. Back to Jack, it was only at this moment that he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Phew, that was too close. And it wasn't just him. Even the female assassin was secretly relieved, saying, "At first, when we decided to charge into Chaitika's hideout, I was a little worried we wouldn't be able to take them on." In response, Jack waved his hand to fan himself and replied, "I figured if I could land a critical hit, we might have been able to even the odds." But it didn't work out. Just then, the merchant Money, realizing they had returned victorious, joyfully ran over and started tossing Jack in the air. "Jack, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! I was so worried! I wasn't sure if you'd even make it here. They suspected me of colluding with the bandits to steal the goods. I was imprisoned and threatened. I really don't know how I can possibly repay." "Oh, you—" As he spoke, the merchant was so moved he started to cry. Jack, on the other hand, was already starting to drool. "The best way to show gratitude is with gold." Hearing his words, someone nearby spoke up. "Showing gratitude with gold. I like that way of thinking. Truly a golden phrase." These words came from a certain middle-aged merchant. He was dressed very elegantly, and by some miracle Jack recognized the man's identity. Is that NPC the head of the largest merchant guild in Legend World? As expected of a major guild, he has such an impressive aura, Jack thought to himself. Sun, standing beside him, continued. "The fundamental principle of business is to trust no one. Even though he has dealt with us many times, who's to say when he might betray us? Since we heard you went to retrieve the goods, we held him in custody." Hearing this, Jack knocked on the side of the carriage and said, "Here's what I recovered from Chaitika's hideout. Please check it. I'll even throw in the carriage for you, sir. I have no use for it anyway. I like you, kid. Go and check it." He called out to a subordinate behind him, and a few burly men quickly unloaded the crates to inspect them. "That crate of explosives isn't from the guild. I'm throwing that in as a gift. And I'm not the one who damaged that crate," Jack added with a laugh. After a moment of inspection, the burly man held up a tattered roll of fabric and reported to his boss. "It's our merchandise, all right. The quantity is correct, but 2 rolls of silk are damaged." Hearing this, the merchant's son immediately took out an abacus and began to mutter. "Let's see, 2 damaged rolls of silk. I'll have to deduct that from the reward, won't I?" "What I risk my life to get your merchandise back, and you're deducting from the reward," Jack shouted, but Sun didn't even turn to look at him, explaining calmly, "I only assigned the quest to transport the goods. Any losses that occurred during transport are your problem. I have no obligation to compensate you for them." Hearing this, Jack could no longer contain his anger. "This is unbelievable!" But before he could say another word, the merchant Money rushed to stop him from behind. "It's all right, whatever the reward is. I'll share a generous portion with you." At that moment, the merchant's son had finished his calculations. He snapped his fingers, ordering a subordinate to bring out a chest. "This is your reward. Though I've deducted the value of the 2 silk rolls, I've added a little extra to make up for your efforts. Go ahead and check it." With that said, he turned to leave. But, seeing this, Jack hurriedly shouted to stop him, "Wait!" At the sound of his voice, the burly men immediately drew their weapons, their eyes filled with suspicion. The merchant's son also stopped in his tracks and asked, "What is it?" In response, Jack took out the note that the old man Pans had prepared earlier and showed it to him. Pans gave me this list. Could you help me find these items? Oh, it seems you've already acquired the Stone Demon King's horn. If Pans is the one asking, then I'll help. I'll find these things for you. He agreed with a surprisingly easy nod. This left our protagonist a bit surprised. Really, Pan's reputation is incredible. Back to Sun. Before turning to leave, he added a word of advice. However, it will take some time. Come back after you've reached level 150 or level 160 will do. After reaching that level, go to X-Men Port west of Talang Castle. Before he could finish his sentence, the man left immediately, leaving Jack and Money utterly baffled by this strange requirement. Finally, after a few seconds of being dazed, Jack turned to remind Money, "This is your quest item, so only you can open it." "Oh, right," Money exclaimed, suddenly remembering. As he was opening the chest, he added, "I'll give you 40% of my reward. In any case, I'm doing this quest mainly for the reputation." Hearing him say that, the general immediately pushed his luck. "Then how about 50%? Oh, give it a rest," the girl Heron scolded from the side when she saw him acting so pathetic. A moment later, several gold bars were revealed before the main character's eyes, making him drool uncontrollably. "Thank you. Thank you so much," Money said, tossing him a few of the gold bricks. The general's eyes turned into coins. "Oh my God, there's so much quests from the big merchant guilds are really on another level.